Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl. Tonight, the Red Tornadoes begin their 131st year of football, hosting North Schuylkill in a co-region rivalry that dates back to 1893. This will be the 102nd meeting between the two schools. We now ask that everyone please direct your attention to the scoreboard end zone at the Silver Bowl, where our colors are prepared for tonight's game. This evening, the Mount Carmel Area School District would like to recognize and honor Mr. Jose Gonzalo for his 52-year commitment to the MCA football program. A 1964 graduate, Jose has served the Big Red during the last 48 seasons as team statistician and begins the 2023 season with a 681 consecutive game streak dating back to 1966. While serving as a statistician, Jose produced and published 6 Red Tornado football guides and has been the official MCA sports historian since 2016. He was one of the original founders of the MCA Breakfast Supper Club in 1983 and continued serving the club until the end of the 2022 season. Gonzalo was also one of the 21 founders of the Ed Romance chapter of the PA Sports Hall of Fame, where he has served as its ghostwriter since 1999, as well as a scholarship chairman, serving MCA athletes, and was a 2005 Hall of Fame inductee. Jose is currently completing his 3rd term on the Mount Carmel Area School Board and has been a member of the MCA Education Foundation since its inception in 1999. Gonzalo has been an integral part of the development of Tornado Alley, keeping the legacy of MCA athletes and students alive here at the Silver Bowl. Within the Beach family weight room, Jose has researched, printed, and placed photos of every MCA athlete ever named to an all-state team in football, basketball, baseball, and soccer, and also those who earned a medal at a PIAA state championship meet in wrestling, cross country, and track and field. With Jose this evening are his wife, Rose, daughter, Jill, and her husband, Raj, and their children, Callie, Ava, and Zach, his son, Jed, and his wife, Tiffany, and their children, Sam, Ellie, and Caroline, and his son, Joel. Also joining us this evening are Mount Carmel Area School Board members, Dan Reno, Donna James, Bob Muldowney, and Solicitor Ed Greco. Mount Carmel Area Education Foundation members, Harry Morgan, Bob Lipinski, and Mount Carmel Area Superintendent Pete Cheddar. Thank you, Jose. Your dedication to Mount Carmel area is truly second to none and has never gone unnoticed. MCA appreciates all that you have done and continue to do. At this time, Athletic Directors Cassandra Niglio and Greg Sakavage, along with MCA cheerleaders, will present a plaque honoring Jose that will eventually be placed on the monument at the entrance to the Silver Bowl. Congratulations, Jose. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem tonight will feature MCA vocalists Adrian Rodriguez, Rebecca Morales, and Dominic Tamborelli. The Big Red Band will then follow with the Mount Carmel Area alma mater. Please rise for our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars. Hello and happy Friday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is an opening night gem sponsored by Shimmock's Furniture World in Mount Carmel, featuring the visiting North Schuylkill Spartans and your Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. My name's Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother, Dan Lesko. Jose Gonzalo, who's just honored at the field for his contributions, will continue to support us from the sideline as he has done year in and year out. And together we're coming to you all live from the Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl here in very sunny, very warm Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania on the last Friday in August here, Dan. And it's an opening night matchup where we've got the Spartans and the Red Tornadoes. And as we kind of start to get rolling here, we know a win against North Schuylkill, especially for Mount Carmel over the last 8 years, has been fairly elusive.
Yeah.
1-7 over those last 8 years. But in true what have you done for me lately fashion, that one win was a 25-17 victory last season with really jump-started the Red Tornadoes on their way towards the undefeated regular season.
Right.
Within that game, the Red Tornadoes were really buoyed by a couple guys who were returning here tonight, one in quarterback Cole Spears and running back Luke Blessing, as those two guys, Dan, accounted for all 4 Red Tornado touchdowns on that night just about a year ago.
Yeah, Jim, and those two players in Spears and Blessing will now be the battery seen in the backfield this year. And, I mean, rightfully so. Spears ended an injury-shortened season that he came back in the end. He missed a couple games in the middle there. With a 70% completion rating, over 1,200 yards passing, and 14 touchdowns through the air, while Blessing, on the ground, rushed for over 650 and 14 touchdowns. So that's 28 touchdowns right there between the two of them, and that's not all that they had.
No, it's not. And the Red Tornadoes went into this summer, Dan, with really, wow, and when we talked to Coach Darrell, we called it almost an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position, right? You have Spears. The Red Tornadoes also saw Matt Belichick thrust into action, and then freshman Gavin Marshalluk as well. All three kids performed out of their minds. They were phenomenal, again, en route to that 10-0 regular season for the Red Tornadoes.
Right.
But while they're back, there are some guys from that offense that are gone, right? So in losing standouts Verano, Farinado, Jake Zarski, offensively, the Red Tornadoes, while they're, again, you talk about what they're returning, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Offensively, they're also losing almost a little over 2,000 yards of offense, passing and throwing, and 29 touchdowns, Dan.
Yeah, that's a humongous loss. But, some of those names that we mentioned earlier, Spears, Blessing, Diaz, all those guys are returning. And that's another, couple 1,000, 1,500 yards of offense. And, another, it's actually, I apologize, over 2,000 yards of offense between the returners. And, just as many, if not more, touchdowns coming back. So, really, there's not an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position. There is an embarrassment of riches at the skill position for this Red Tornadoes team.
And that speaks so much, Dan, to talk about losing. And you see here finally that we get the Red Tornadoes led by number 15, Jacob Schultz, who we'll talk about a lot tonight.
Yeah.
But when we look at the offense and we say 2,000 yards lost, 29 touchdowns lost, what's perhaps more jarring to me is that the offense isn't even where I think the greatest losses are because of all the support in the skill positions from Blessing and Diaz and Schultz and Belichick and Widener, where defensively the Red Tornadoes had just as great, if not a greater loss, in that they've got to try to kind of, and the numbers are staggering, they've got to kind of try to count for over 400 tackles, almost 10 sacks, 8 picks, and those losses through graduation and guys that had decided to pursue other opportunities.
Right.
So what do you see them? What do you see the Red Tornadoes doing to kind of make up for some of that?
Well, Jim, last year we talked about it so much, the experience on the offensive and defensive line. This year we're going to talk about the experience in the offensive and defensive backfields. Those guys are going to buoy those skill guys. Just we talked about. They're going to buoy the defense and they're going to buoy the offense because yes, they lost over 400 tackles from last year, but the leading tackler from last year, Maddox Reed, is going to be back out there on the field. You'll see him at the inside linebacker spot, number 3. We like to call him the Mad Dog up here. He had 123 tackles, 10 for loss last year, and he finds his way to the ball. Always. He's always around the ball. And he's gonna really buoy that inside, where you are gonna see some new faces. You're gonna see Al Bailey in there at inside linebacker as opposed to being an outside linebacker. You're gonna see Luke Blessing get some more time on defense, along with all the work that he's gonna be doing on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and I think we're here and we're focused on our Red Tornadoes and on our sideline. This is our turf, but we'd be remiss to not recognize all that's going on the other side of the field too, and the guys in the white jerseys tonight, the Spartans. So for all Mount Carmel's bluster and getting to the district championship game, the Spartans did the same. The Spartans fell at the hands of Northwest Lehigh on actually the same night the Red Tornadoes season ended.
Yeah.
So they're hungry as well. They bring back a lot of their offensive cohort. Quarterback Trevor Minalda, receivers Joey Flail, Colin Stanakis, Kevin Jones, Colin McGee, and certainly in the backfield Jackson Chawanski.
Yeah, and Jackson Chawanski, to speak of, is one guy that we didn't get a chance to see last year. When we traveled there to North Schuylkill, Chawanski was nursing an injury, and he still came back last year, had 74 tackles on the defensive side of the ball, and we didn't have the rushing numbers, but he's going to be their feature back in the backfield this year. After North Schuylkill did graduate, I believe it was Luke Tenari, who had over 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground. But as you mentioned, Jim, the Spartans are sort of in the same position as the Red Tornadoes this year, with a lot of returning skill players, guys with a year of experience under their belt. They got their feet wet last year, and they're ready to kind of step up and take over the league.
Now we'll see the captains from both sides come to midfield here for the coin toss for the Red Tornadoes. If you're looking at right to left, that's going to be Reed, Schultz, Spears, and Diaz. Left to right for the Spartans is going to be Chawanski, Flail, and Minalda. We'll exchange some pleasantries here, and we'll get started. 79 degrees here at kickoff. It's not quite 7 o'clock yet, so we're on a good pace tonight. There was some talk of weather perhaps blowing through here, not unlike we saw last season.
Yeah.
But hopefully that dissipated. So the Spartans have won the toss, and they've elected to get the football, Dan.
All right, so we will see that Red Tornado defense this year again. Going to be buoyed by Maddox Reed in the middle at that inside linebacker spot, but a lot of depth in that defensive backfield too. We're probably going to be seeing guys rotated in and out. Xavier Diaz, Chase Belichick. You're going to see Schultz in an outside linebacker spot. Schultz, the second leading tackler, returning from last year. So you're not only going to see him on the offensive side of the ball, also Red Tornado's leading receiver from last year.
So we'll see here for the Red Tornadoes to kick off. Looks like it's going to be. Look at here. Is Cricky going to do the kicking? For the kickoff, at least. Excuse me, I know Shoppy.
Looks like we'll find out here.
All right, Shoppy's got the tee. I saw Cricky out there as well.
Okay.
Cricky, we expect to do some of the punting. Bobby Shoppy, number 42, will handle the kickoffs and PATs for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cricky there to go along with a lot of the familiar faces from last year. Cricky, a freshman this year, that there's a lot of hype around. There's a lot of people said he showed out in the summertime workouts, so he's going to get his opportunity. We're going to see a lot of guys getting their chance this year.
For the Spartans, it's going to be, looks like Flail and McGee back deep. You can hear the buzz of the crowd here. Very exciting night, as all Friday nights are in Mount Carmel. Certainly the first one. Certainly, when you've got I guess we can't call the Spartans a crosstown rival, but
they're close enough.
They're pretty close.
They're close enough. Yeah, when you get within that 15 to 20-minute drive, that's a rival in itself.
When you have two programs with kind of the same goals in mind, right? We don't necessarily run into each other after week one, but the Spartans certainly expect to be vying for a district title. And we're underway here. It's going to be short. Looks like it's going to be Miller at the 16. And he's up the left sideline. He's got a little space. Fesniak will slow him down just enough, and it's going to be Widener that spins him down out of bounds in Red Tornado territory. It'll be 1st and 10 Spartans at about the 48-yard line.
Yeah, and you see there, that is number 7, Colin McGee, is very hyped to start his first offensive drive here, at the wide receiver position in Red Tornado territory. This is big for the Spartans. So the first drive, you want to set the tone. It's a lot easier to set that tone when you're already in plus territory.
And like you said, Dan, right in the middle there, 77 Shimko and 9 Karicki. It's going to be Bailey and Widener as the defensive ends there. Reed and Bailey, the inside backers. Miller's kind of a, looks like they're running a 3-4. Minalda brings McGee in motion, and he's going to hand it to him. And he's got a little space on the end. He's run through one tackler. He's got a first down and more out inside the 30-yard line. We'll see where they mark him out on the far side. Looks like he's going to be right at the 29-yard line, so a gain of about 19 on the first play from scrimmage for the Spartans.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. If you're a Spartan, you want to come out here, your first play of the drive, you don't even have to put the ball in the air. You get a first down. It's a big start.
Now it's Flail in motion. They're going to hand it to him, and he's got some space. He's tripped up. A nice tackle made by Miller.
Yeah, Ben Miller did a great job there. He held up the guy that was blocking him, and he made Flail make the decision. When Flail decided to go inside, Miller shed his blocker and was able to trip him up.
You see the Spartans will stay in the shotgun for the most part. They'll go with 4 wide. It'll be trips to the right. And no sooner did I say 4 wide, and it's 3 to the right and a tight end. Minalda's got Chwanski with him. They'll go with the hard count and get a free 5 from an over-anxious Red Tornado defensive front.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame him, Jim? You talked about the buzz of the crowd. Everybody's got to be buzzing out there on the field. This is it's a late August game. It's week 1. Everybody's been waiting to hit somebody that's wearing a different colored jersey at least. So they finally get their chance there, but that's going to put the Spartans in a much better position here for their second now short.
Jones is the tight end to the left from Minalda. He's got McGee, Stanakis, and Flail in a kind of a bunch to the right. Chwanski now to his left. And it's a quick rocket screen to Stanakis. A nice tackle made by Maddox Reed, but not before the first down was picked up.
Yeah, that's a really good job by Maddox Reed. Starting from the inside, did a good job reading that and getting out there to make the tackle from behind. And you got to give credit there. I think that was Xavier Diaz, is the corner on the outside. He forced Stanakis to go inside and allowed Reed to make that tackle.
Minalda run it for the first time right up the middle off the play fake. Looks like Karicki on the stop.
Yeah, Karicki with a little help from, looked like Al Bailey as well in there.
Gain of about 5.
Yeah, still got a nice gain out of it there.
It's the first time we see him up behind that offensive line. Again, they go Zilker, Wall, Bernowski, Stokes, and Knox left to right, and is certainly an area of strength for this Spartan team. Minalda keeps it himself. The Red Tornadoes sniff it out, and he'll stop for a short gain, short of the line to gain. And the Spartans will see their first third down of the night.
Yeah, it was a real good job there by the Red Tornadoes, kind of reading that. The Spartans are doing, sort of what a lot of teams like to do about the Red Tornadoes. They're so tough in the middle. They want to spread them out and work their way up the middle. But Red Tornadoes did a good job answering the bell there. Now it's a big third down here, big third down.
And to Dan's point, the splits are about as wide as they can get from the receivers. It's Stanakis and McGee to the left, Jones and Flail to the right. Stanakis comes in motion. Minalda keeps it himself down inside the 5 for a first down with 9:13 on the clock here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, Minalda didn't get much, but he got just enough to make that play. And there's a Red Tornado down here. I believe that is Maddox Reed.
As we got a second here, we want to take a moment to just thank our sponsor tonight. Again, Shimmock's Furniture World here in Mount Carmel. Good to see Reed up on his feet and getting off the field under his own power.
And you see, as Reed checks out to get himself taken care of here, Luke Blessing checks in. So you'll see Blessing and Bailey as those 2 inside linebackers here for this first and goal.
Right, so Minalda brings the Spartans back to the line. The ball is right on the 5-yard line, so it's first and goal. Minalda rolls out. He's looking for Stanakis. Wide at the target. Second down.
Great coverage there by Diaz. There was nowhere for Ronaldo to put that, so throwing it out of bounds was probably the best bet there. He tried to, he thought maybe he could thread the needle, but he, you know, as a quarterback, especially Ronaldo in his second year, you kind of realize who's in coverage where, and he knew that was Xavier Diaz, and he has the speed to kind of make up room. He didn't want to let him step in front of that, so he did the smart thing and threw it away.
Now it's a bunch to the left for the Spartans. Hard count, Red Tornadoes don't bite. Ronaldo himself up the middle, but he's hit immediately and stopped by that interior Red Tornado defense. See, looks like Belichick getting up off the bottom.
Yeah. Matt Belichick.
Matt Belichick,
Matt
correct.
Belichick. Chase is in there as well. Both Belichicks are in there right now. One's at a defensive end, I believe. And Matt's at the defensive end. Chase is in the defensive backfield.
So now, again, Spartans start 1st and goal from the 5. It's now 3rd and goal from the 5. Red Tornado defense stiffening up a bit here in the shadow of their own goalpost. Ronaldo to throw. He's going to run. He's trying to get it to Flail. Just fantastic coverage over there, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, Diaz was draped all over Flail from the beginning. Ronaldo immediately looked in Flail's direction on that. So now it's going to bring up a huge 4th down.
And we'll see what Coach Hall opts to go for here, because we didn't talk about it much in the pregame, but they do. The Spartans do have one of the better kickers in the air, in Gavin Menser. He was 5 of 7 on field goals last season with a long of 37. But here, Coach Hall wants 6.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's in an empty backfield. He brings Flail, and he hands it to Flail. The Red Tornadoes have it blocked up, and he did not get in. They turned him away. They turned him away. He was held up, and the Red Tornado defense finished it off, pushed Flail away from the goal line. What a stop to start the season.
Jim, it looked like the first man on scene there was Maddox Reed, coming from his inside linebacker spot, I believe. And then he was helped out by a host of Red Tornadoes at the goal line as Flail tried everything that he tried with all his might to get into the end zone there. But you're right, he was turned away. And now we'll see this Red Tornado offense in a precarious position to start their first drive of the year.
While the ball is not in the end zone, center Logan Erb is.
Yeah, you're right about that. So this is going to be, you're going to see some pressure from the Spartans too.
We're going to get offsides here, it looks like. So a great call by the Red Tornadoes to start with a hard count to buy a little breathing room.
Absolutely, that's huge. So now you're not going to have Logan Erb in the end zone. You might still have quarterback Cole Spears in the end zone, but a lot more breathing room. 5 yards is huge when you're that close.
And we'll talk about the Red Tornadoes spread offense as the night goes on, but for right now, it's the shotgun double wing, all reliable. Spears is going to keep it himself off the right side. He'll get out to about the 8 to bring up 2nd and 3.
Yeah, that's a good pickup there by Spears, just doing what he can. Yeah, and you know, we talked about it, Jim. We are going to see the Red Tornadoes open things up a little bit more this year, but the easiest way to open things up and have success is to soften them up in the middle.
I actually say Spears got out almost to the 10 there, so it's 2nd and a yard. This time it's Diaz, and Diaz off the left side will have the 1st down. 7:35 left. The Red Tornadoes pick up their first down of the night.
Yeah, that's a really good job there by the Red Tornadoes. After getting the ball back, you know, it's a huge defensive stand. You don't want to stop that momentum. So they get the penalty, 2 plays, they get their first down of the year.
And they'll stay tight again. It'll be Blessing back with Spears. Bailey and Diaz are in those wing slots. Double tight with Belichick and Schultz. And Spears is going to throw. He's got Diaz wide open in the middle of the field. Now it's a foot race. Miller can't get him. Diaz stays on his feet. It's going to be an 87-yard pitch and catch for the first points of the season for the Red Tornadoes. My goodness, this place is electric.
Wow, Jim, wow. You can see it here on the screen. You see the defensive back has to make a decision. He decides to go with Schultz, and Spears finds Diaz down the seam. What a humongous play to start this Red Tornado season off right on their first offensive drive. That was a tremendous pass from pitch and catch from Spears to Diaz.
My goodness. Shoppy's kick is up and no good. So it'll remain 6-0 Red Tornadoes with 7:01 left in the first quarter here on opening night at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, Jim, what a great start here for the Red Tornadoes. The defense, you bend a little bit, but you don't break. You stand up, you get the 4th down stop, and then you go 4 plays. If my math is correct, 4 plays for 6 points, the length of the field.
I mean, I don't, again, we'll have to talk to Jose and see what does that drive look like officially.
Right.
But from sitting here, I can tell you that the tip of the ball when the drive started was a blade of grass away from the goal line.
Right.
That was about as far as you could go.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, that's and what a momentum swing, Jim. You know, North Schuylkill, they got the great return to start things off, and then they put together a nice drive. They get down there, they're kind of humming a little bit, their offense, and then they get stuffed, and the Red Tornadoes turn it into 6 points after the turnover on downs. You felt all the air taken out of that side, the opposite side of the field here of us, and brought into the Red Tornado stands.
And I think one of the exciting things, and you'll see how far the stop and the touchdown go to kind of calm the Red Tornadoes down a little bit.
Right. That's, I mean, you should be settled in now.
Shoppy again kicking to Flail and McGee. This is a short kick. It's going to be Miller at the 25. And he's off the right side. He'll get up the middle. Out to about the 36-yard line.
And that one worked out a little bit better there. You know, Miller kind of had to take that more in the center, not on the sideline. So he kind of had to run right into the teeth of that Red Tornado kickoff team. And he wasn't able to turn it into a whole lot after he received the kick. Plus, those high kicks, it gives you your kickoff team a little bit extra time to get down there.
The Spartans will come out with their same look here. It'll be McGee and Snonakis to the left, Jones and Flail to the right. And Alda has Chawanski, sends him in motion. A little swing pass out there. He's got a good couple blocks, but a nice effort there by Lukoski getting off his block and slowing him up on what could have been a big play.
Yeah, definitely could have been. It looked like Chawanski had some room had Lukoski not been there, but you're right, he slowed him up just enough to turn that into a short game.
And again, Lukoski out there right now as Diaz takes a well-earned water break on a warm night. Minalda to throw again. He wants Jones in the middle of the field, and he's got him. Good solid tackle by the Red Tornadoes, but not before Jones gets into Mount Carmel territory down to the 40 for a 1st and 10.
And Jim, you know, what we see from the Red Tornadoes, we usually see man coverage on the outside, but those tight ends and guys, if they can get into the middle of the field, it's the inside linebacker sitting in a zone. He just sat down in the middle of that zone.
Minalda again. Now he's under a little bit of pressure. He's got to roll to the right. He'll be out of bounds after a few-yard gain. That was 55 bumps.
Yeah,
really nice pressure in the backfield.
Really nice job there by the Red Tornado defensive line. As you said, you know, you have bumps in there. Herb, you've got Karicki, and you have Widener on that defensive line there as well. 44 Ryan Widener from.
Minalda's got a double stack to work, and he goes to Jones over the middle again. And he does a nice job hanging on to the football, but he paid a price from Belichick.
Yeah, you got to give Jones credit for hanging on to that one. The throw was a little bit behind him. He hung in there, but Belichick got his head right into his chest and put a stick on him. So he's gonna think twice next time he comes across the middle there if he knows Belichick's there.
It's a lot easier to go across the middle when you're the size of Jones at 6'1", 215.
Absolutely.
Minalda under pressure from Bailey. Rolls and he throws short, but it's caught. Well, perhaps it's caught. We'll see. Okay, they are going to say it's completion to Stanakis. Gain of about 6.
Yeah, it was strange there at the end. I wasn't sure how they were going to call it because it looked like he rolled and that ball kind of bounced out.
Again, this stack for the Spartans. Having success, stay with it. Over the middle, and it's, that was number 4. Michael Kimsel for the Red Tornadoes in there on some of the coverage, but there were a couple red jerseys around.
Yeah, and you know, that's That's one crazy thing when you see, you see a guy like Kimsel come up and make a crazy athletic play, jump in front of that, get a hand on it, and he comes down and he's hitting himself in the helmet. He's mad that he didn't pick it off. So it's like you made a great play to begin with. You want more?
And all the now it's a quick rocket screen out to Stanakis. Being first down. Again, they do a nice job setting that up, the Spartans do.
Yeah, they did do a really good job. And you saw their guys out in front blocking. They got on their guys and they held on to them. And they didn't. So it was a good job by Stanakis making the reads off of the blocks in front of him.
Diaz back in there at the opposite corner. Pause for Minaldo here. He's under pressure now. He's going to float it out to Chawanski. Good initial slowdown by Reed, and it'll be cleaned up by Schultz and that number 6,
yeah.
Delaney.
Yeah.
Jaden Delaney. Coach Dara had a lot to say about him as well. Another freshman out there who earned his time.
Absolutely, and we see North Schuylkill here. They're going pace on this hot summer night here.
Low snap to Minaldi, picks it up. Now it's a fire drill. Nowhere for him to go. The Red Tornadoes do a good job staying in their lanes. It looks like Shimko, Karicki, and Belichick, I think, are in there.
Yeah, I think Belichick was the first one that kind of got through off the edge, and then he just ran into a wall of that is Noah Shimko.
So again, the Spartans here making a lot of progress. Now third down, and they're going to go ahead and pick up quick 5 there. Another hard count, so it'll go from 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 2. Well,
yeah, and you see the Spartans seem to be, trying to take advantage of the aggressiveness of the Red Tornadoes. They see, the possibility of blitzing linebackers coming there, so they employ the hard count to try to slow down that attack.
Going to bring the ball into the 4. So we'll see here. 3 receivers to the left. This is where the Spartans have run the little fusion. Okay, I think we're back to business here. The Spartans have run those quick rocket screens in this situation, Dan.
Yeah, that or we could even see a read option with Chawanski and Minalda.
It's a high snap. Minalda's going to try to get the edge, but he does a good job not losing yards there. The Red Tornadoes had it snuffed out, but at night, Minalda put his foot in the ground and tried to get upfield. Although it looks like he only maybe made it back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, might have possibly gotten one, if that. It looked like the ref took a small step to his right.
Well, here we go again. The Spartans have had two possessions inside the Red Tornado 10-yard line. The first one stopped on downs. We'll see the second one. They hand it off to Flail, who's going to try to get the corner. And does he get in? He does. He does. The Red Tornadoes met him at the point of contact, but Flail had the momentum. So a 2-yard plunge to Nodis at 6 with 3:16 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, Jim, and you talked about it now. Menser, 5 of 7 on field goals last year. He was 57 of 58 on extra points, which is pretty impressive at the high school level. So he's going to look to put the Spartans ahead here with this point after.
High snap, gets down and it's up and no good. Menser pushed it to the right, so we'll stay deadlocked at 6.
Yeah, Jim, this is going to be a dogfight. With 3:16 left here in the first quarter, you can already tell that both teams are they're not giving up. You're not conceding an extra point. You're not conceding anything at this time. You're going to earn everything you get in a game like this, and that's the way it should be when these rivals go after each other.
Well, I think we talked about it for a second. On that, if you go back and watch that touchdown from Flail there, what you'll see is the young man we just talked about, Jalen Delaney.
Yeah.
He stuck his nose in there and he upended him. And honest to goodness, if Flail needed 3 yards, he wouldn't have gotten it. He got about 2 1/4.
Yep, you're 100% right, Jimmy. He went over top of Delaney.
So now we'll see the Red Tornado kick return team for the first time this season. Be Blessing and Diaz will be back deep. And Menser will handle the kickoff duties for the Spartans.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like Diaz and Blessing back deep, as you just mentioned, Jim.
It's week 1 for everybody.
Indeed it is.
It's not getting any cooler either.
No, it seems like I mean, the temperature may be dropping, but the humidity is rising. And that's not good for anybody on the field there.
Menser's got the ball on the left hash here. And that's a boot to Diaz. It'll be 3 yards deep in the end zone. The Red Tornadoes will start this drive on their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, and Jim, you know, you think about it. How do you neutralize an explosive player on a kick return? You don't have to squib it and give up extra yards. You just kick it into the end zone.
Now, it happened so fast last drive. There was a lot going on. But again, just want to make sure we call out here and reference that Red Tornado offensive line. Looks like from right to left, that's going to go. That's Shimko, Lamas. We used to talk about Herb, Spears, and is that Shiganowski on the left side? I'm trying to see a jersey number. Looks like 76. Spears will go up the middle. 70, excuse me. Yep. Spears kept that one himself. So that was 70. That's Delaney.
Yeah. Jagger Delaney. And now the Red Tornadoes using a little pace here.
And you see him spread it up a little bit. And it's that quick shot out to Diaz. Oh, excuse me, that's Delaney. Have a first down and a little bit more there, and the Red Tornadoes want to keep going.
Yeah, and you see that everybody's back up on the line. Let's go. This is one of those ones where you're telling the ref, hey, get those chains set, get that ball down. We want to go.
It's 3 to the right for the Red Tornadoes here. Spears is going to go, and he's going to hand it to Blessing, who's hit hard right at the point of attack. So we won't pick up a whole lot, if anything.
Yeah, it looked like for the Spartans there was number 50. That's Bradley Himes, along with 35, Nikolai Caraballo.
Now Diaz back in there along with Belichick. And the Red Tornadoes will go back to the shotgun double wing on 2nd and 9. Spears will give it to Diaz, and Diaz does what he does. Finds some space where there is none. And he'll pick up a few yards. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5.
Yeah, I don't think Diaz took a step forward on that play and still turned it into nearly a 5-yard gain there with just the side steps, bouncing around, finding his way through.
So now Belichick and Diaz to the right, Schultz by himself to the left. Blessing with Spears in the backfield. They're going to hand it to Blessing. He's going to put his head down, but he's only going to get another yard. So now the Red Tornadoes have a decision here, 4th and 4, and it looks like, well, hold on. Looks like the Red Tornadoes are going to go for it here.
See a hard count here, Jim. Hard count.
That was the first one. Now Spears will look to the sideline for the play. Again, it's Karicki. You look at the right side of this offense, Dan, that those 3 receivers split. That's 2 freshmen in Belichick.
Yeah.
In Karicki, Delaney, and Chase. And the Spears is going to keep it himself, and he's not going to get it. He's hit immediately by Caraballo. And it'll be turnover on downs there for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, that's a huge play by Caraballo coming off the defensive tackle spot. You know, he read that perfectly. That was kind of an option play there for Spears, and he kept it himself. And Caraballo shut down the handoff to Blessing, and then was quick enough to get inside and make the tackle on Spears. An impressive play, and a momentum shift here for the Spartans.
1:09 left in the first quarter, if you can believe it. We're not out of the first one just yet. 6-6 here at the Silver Bowl on opening night. The Spartans will take over 1st and 10 at the Red Tornado 45. Flail is split to the right by himself. McGee and Stanakis to the left. Stanakis comes in motion. They'll fake it. Now, much like the Red Tornadoes, there's a hard count, and Minalda looking back to the sideline for the play. It's a little bit of a high snap, but Minalda's keeping it himself. He's going to go off the right side, and he's got some space to get over the 40. Nice job by Minalda.
Yeah, and that's a well-designed play too by Coach Hall. You know, you get the bunch out there, the 3 receivers. All Minalda has to do is get out to those three receivers, and he's got 3 blockers directly in front of him. You know what I mean? So that's a nice pickup.
And a really nice block there by number 8, Ricky Halford, who's standing on Minalda's left now, but he really kicked out the linebacker and got Minalda that alley there, and they hand it to Flail. Flail's going to try to get the edge, but it's not there. Another nice play by Delaney.
Yeah, very nice play by Delaney. It is enough for Flail to get the first down, but still, that could have been a lot more. Delaney did a great job tripping him up. And that was more, you saw it there, that was a real read option with Flail coming in motion, because Minalda there was almost an issue on the handoff there, because it looked like Minalda thought about pulling it out.
Minalda to throw again, he looking, it's short, and it's through the hands of a few different jerseys there.
Of about everybody over there.
One of the more risky passes we've seen Minalda throw tonight, but it's 2nd and 10, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, Jim, you know, we keep talking about Minalda. This guy, he's in his 2nd season as a starter now. Passed for over 2,000 yards last year and 27 touchdowns. Now, 846 of those yards and 15 touchdowns went to number 32, the direction he was trying to go there. So he can make some risky passes in that guy's direction, I think.
2nd and 10 again. They'll go with that stack to both sides. Flail and Jones split out way to the right. Minalda under pressure. He's got to roll. He's got nowhere to go, and he's stuck by Blitchett. The ball's out.
I think the Spartans are going to get back on it.
Well, I'm looking at the official down here closest to the sideline. I think he's saying he was down.
Okay.
But that's how the first quarter is going to end. So after 12 minutes here at the Silver Bowl, 6-6.
And Jim, it looked like that play specifically, there was a little miscommunication. And it may not have been a miscommunication, but it may have just been the Red Tornado defenders kind of knocking the timing off, because Minalda took that snap and he looked like he was ready to pump and throw, and the receiver wasn't there. They both had their backs turned to him, so he decided to tuck it and run. And Matt Blitchett, did a great job of reading that and shedding a blocker and making a play.
One of the things that was interesting about that is if you look to the far side of the field, it was really just Flail and Jones over there. But what's so hard about that is that ball would have had to travel. That's how far they were split out. So you wonder, you see them all the way out there. Is Minalda going to risk that throw?
I think that's by design. They're just trying to pull 2 defenders away from where the ball could possibly go. You know, because they are going nearly to the sideline at that point.
It'll be third and about 9 here for the Spartans as they start the second quarter. Again, it's opening night here at the Silver Bowl. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is sponsored by Shimmock's Furniture World.
Yeah, Jim, now we see a little shift here, a little mix-up. We've got Flail in the backfield alongside Minalda, and we've got Chawanski split out wide here with Stanakis.
It's actually after they set the ball, it's 3rd and 11. With the ball at the 35 now. So yeah, Dan, good call out there.
Ready to begin the second quarter. Spartans have it, 3rd and 11.
Even if you can't see the numbers, you can tell Flail and Chawanski are built a little bit differently.
Now Stanakis comes in motion behind Minalda. Minalda's going to pump twice, and he throws it down the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Jones on that pop pass, which is traditionally a hard thing for defenses to cover at the high school level, but the Red Tornadoes were all over it.
Yeah, the 2 high safeties were kind of sitting right where they should have been, and Schultz, coming from an outside linebacker spot, looked like he ran with Smith right up the middle.
Let's see what's going to happen here now. I think even for Menser, this is out of his range, so he's going to punt it. Yeah, because this would be, oh my goodness, this would be about a 50-yard field goal, 52 yards. So we're going to see if we can bury him deep. on 4th and 11, but a good job by that Red Tornado defense standing up and supporting the offense after they turned it over on downs.
Absolutely, and we'll see here which way Menser decides to go. If he will delay a game, give himself an extra 5 yards, maybe by design.
Well, we'll see here. See what the Red Tornadoes opt to do here. Take the extra 5 yards themselves. Happy to see it.
Yep, and just got to keep your returners right where they were at. Keep your heels on that 10-yard line. We'll see which way Menser decides to angle it here.
Delaney and Diaz are back deep. I don't think they're going to get a chance here. Delaney will do a nice job and catch it right at about the 9 to make sure it doesn't get any further. It'll be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel from there. Again, they'll start inside their own 10, which oddly won't be their worst field position of the night.
Yeah, that's a really good job there by Delaney. Hanging in there, making that fair catch, like you said, because, I mean, there were Spartans on him immediately, so that ball would have been down inside the 5.
So the Red Tornadoes, unlike the first drive where they were in the shadow of their own goalpost, they're going to open it up a little bit here. 3 receivers to the left. Like a single tight end to the right. Spears is going to throw a quick pass over the head of Diaz, and it was almost a catastrophe.
Yeah, that was a dangerous one.
As Luke Miller was right there and would have had to just fall forward for a pick 6.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think Miller was, as a good defensive back does, he wasn't peeking in the backfield, because if he would have, I think he would have seen that all the way.
But it'll be the same look from the Red Tornadoes. That's Schultz all the way to the sideline, the Red Tornado sideline. Belichick in the middle, and Diaz. Now Spears is going to throw. Oh, he's under pressure. He's going to try to get upfield and pick something up. And he's strong, kid. That strong legs pushing out over the 10 to about the 12.
Yeah, that's a really good job by Spears. Just knowing, having that internal clock, knowing when it runs out. He saw, he was trying to make some reads. He felt pressure around him. He tucked it, and he got what he could.
Now Belichick will split by himself to the right. And 28 out Bailey will come on the inside of Diaz. Blessing will go out there. They'll swing it out to him. But what a play by 33 for the Spartans. And that is Keegan Curry, who left no doubt that he saw that coming and knocked Blessing down in the backfield.
Yeah, he wasn't worried about his man in coverage. He knew that motion was coming that way, and he knew that the ball was going to be going to Blessing.
So now we'll see the Red Tornado punt team for the first time tonight, and that'll be the aforementioned Max Koricki. And we talked about him. We saw him at the Red Tornado Open a couple weeks ago, and he's a big kid.
He is, Jim, but it's tough. Your first varsity punt out of your own end zone.
Does a nice job spiral. Flail's going to catch it over his shoulder at about the 46. He's got a head of steam. He's going to get around one defender, get up the sideline and out of bounds. He'll be right around the 20-yard line. Looks like they're going to say at the 21, but there's a flag in the end zone.
We'll see what happens here. I'm not sure. Is that going to be
personal foul, roughing the kicker? That'll be a first down, Red Tornadoes. And my goodness.
And that is a huge shift there, Jim, from the Spartans going to take over on the Red Tornadoes 20-yard line to the Red Tornadoes now with a first down.
And they crashed hard.
They did.
Again,
they sent pressure.
At that point in the field, you understand it. You do send the pressure, but that's the risk you run.
Yeah, and it's always, it could just be being
here,
over anxious.
Yep, we got a replay. Oh, and you see there, the Spartan defender laying out to try to block the punt did get into Koricki's landing leg.
Yep.
Upended him, and that'll get you 15 every time. Again,
every time.
No malicious intent by any means, just the nature of the beast that if you kind of get underneath that guy when he's trying to land, they're going to catch you. Yeah, you'll run into that. But again, such a huge shift here for the Red Tornadoes. It's a massive change here. Brings the ball all the way out to the 23.
And now they've got to take advantage of it.
Belichick and Diaz to the right. Schultz by himself to the left. Spears has Bailey and Blessing in the backfield. They hand it to Blessing, who's hit by Chawanski in the backfield, and he's got nowhere to go. Gonna lose a few on that one. Looks like they're gonna say he lost 2, and it probably could have been more.
Yeah, it looked like Chawanski was in the Red Tornadoes huddle there because he was in the backfield before, as the ball was snapped.
Red Tornadoes right back on it. Now Diaz upended by Miller, who is having a heck of a night already out on the edge.
Yeah, that was a great job. He fought over the one blocker that could get there to him and got just enough of Diaz to trip him up. And now the Red Tornadoes in a 3rd and long, you know, just like that.
Fesniak in. He'll be inside Schultz. Now he's going to go in motion to the wide side of the field. And the Red Tornadoes got a timeout there right at the end. Had a little trouble getting the line, but again, week 1, Dan. This is what happens.
Yeah, but it's week 1, and it's a new offense. You know, for all of these guys, you know, if you've watched the Red Tornadoes for the past 9 seasons, this is Coach Dara's 9th year. They've run the shotgun double wing or some variation of it every once in a while, split one guy out wide. But now you're running a completely different offense. You've got different receivers checking in for different positions on different plays. You have packages that you put in when you have these wide sets. You know, this is our speed package, this is our power package. There's a lot of different things that go into that. And trying to do all of that at the line of scrimmage in week 1 with a new offense, it's hard. You know, so you expect to see, you know, those bumps in the road like this. But I think up to this point, the Red Tornadoes have done a great job working with it.
So now it's 3rd and 11, 9:24 left in the 2nd quarter, tied up here at 6. Spears drops back. He's under a little bit of pressure. He throws short, incomplete. He was looking for Schultz. Looks like there was maybe a little miscommunication. Maybe he thought Schultz was going to flatten that one out a little bit, but nevertheless, 4th and long, and the Red Tornadoes will be back in punt formation.
Yeah, credit to the Spartans defense for standing up there and kind of making up for that error on the last punt.
If you look at the Spartan return here, it looks like they're going to set up more of a return. They've got, it's not just Flail back deep, it's McGee as well, and not as much pressure on the line. Low snap, nice job by Cricky. It's a low punt, but it's going to bounce and take a nice roll. It'll be right at the 31-yard line. So a great job by Cricky of flipping the field there. That's about, what do you say? That's about 56 yards of field position.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. You know, the first punt was prettier. You know, the first punt was prettier. It had that spiral that you like to get from your punter. But this one was effective. You know, this one was much more effective. It was lower. It was harder for anybody to handle. So the Spartan returners did the smart thing, stay away from it, and it just rolled and rolled and rolled. You get that end-over-end kick, it's going to keep rolling. So the Red Tornado defense in a better position now to counter this Spartan offense.
Minalda to throw. He's looking for Miller. It's high. It's oh! It was a little high for Belichick, and I thought Kimsel was going to have a chance on the tip, but it'll fall incomplete, 2nd down.
Yeah, and Jim, that was number 1, Chase Belichick, who had 5 interceptions himself last year. So he was going for number 1 here early on in the season, and he nearly had it. But a really good job of just getting there and knocking that ball down, because for a second there it looked like it was there.
And all the hands off to Chawanski off the right side. Nice tackle by by Miller.
Really nice tackle there by Miller. Max Karicki was the first one on scene. He forced Chawanski to kind of turn that up earlier than he wanted to, but Miller just clipped him. He clipped that leg and upended Chawanski. It's a great job.
That's a big leg. Chawanski's a strong runner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's built like a running back. He looks like Maurice Jones-Drew.
Flail comes in motion. They give it to him. He's going to try to get outside. He comes back inside for the 1st down. So the Red Tornadoes did a good job of shutting down the edge, but Flail saw the lane the cutback lane and picked up the first down.
Yeah, and it was impressive. I mean, it looked like he was committed to get outside here, and you'll see he pretty much stops himself cold and cuts that back upfield, found that lane. That's just, you got to give credit to a runner like that. That's field vision and that's instinct.
And all under pressure immediately, and he's sacked. What a play by Widener. That's going to be about a 7-yard loss, so a huge play by Widener. The Red Tornadoes really went after Minaldo on that one, Dan.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, they were in the backfield quick. That's the 4 Red Tornadoes that were in the backfield before Minaldo hit his back foot in his straight back drop. And I mean, with the Spartans have been running semi-long pass routes. He's not going to be able to get the ball out in those routes.
Red Tornadoes show the blitz again, but they back off. But still, Widener's got a free run, and he's going to take Minaldo down again. Woo! Widener, my goodness.
And you see now, this must be a design play, Jim, because you see Widener signaling to the sideline. He's patting his helmet. I think he wants to let's run it again. Let's run it again. I'll get inside every time. I'll get in the backfield every time.
It'll be 3rd and 20 now, all the way back at their own 33. And again, Dan, I think your point about the Spartans running these longer pass patterns is a really good one.
Yeah, and Jim, now you'll see. We'll see Minaldo get the ball out of his hands quickly on this one, I'm sure.
And they're going to pump and go. Widener's got him in the sights again. Minaldo's going to outrun him, but Blessing's going to fight him to the sideline. Ooh.
And Minaldo's up quick.
Pops right up, thank goodness.
Yeah.
He hit that table.
He hit that table hard coming this way.
What a tough kid.
And there was no, nothing malicious there. Right. It was just his momentum carried him. But thank goodness he got up quickly. And now you see he's kind of shaking the cobwebs off a little bit.
Yep.
So Coach Wally Hall here has a decision to make.
We'll see. So it's the efforts from Minaldo are going to get. It's going to be 4th and 11, and Coach Hall decides we're going to punt this one away.
I think it's not only the position on the field, another opportunity to flip the field, but I think you want to give your quarterback a breather here. You don't want to put him in a high intensity situation, 4th down, after just taking a hit like that. You want to give him a chance to kind of recover and make sure he's good.
Delaney, it's a low punt, but the Red Tornadoes content to let Menser get it off. It's a good punt, and Diaz will take a fair catch at the 14-yard line. One thing, Dan, I think worth noting here as we see Widener on the sideline here, taking a little breath, a well-deserved breather.
Yeah.
One thing Coach Dara talked to us about this week that we see, so if you look at the stats from last season, right, the Red Tornadoes, we talked about how much they returned. Widener had 300 yards rushing last year, all but. I think 282 is the number.
Yeah.
You're not going to see him a lot on offense this year.
Right.
He's going to play that pass rusher, and Coach Dara has made it a point over the last few years, and I think they're finally getting the numbers and being able to do that, of trying to have as many one-way players as possible.
Yeah, especially on a night like tonight when it's, 80 degrees out, 85, 90% humidity. You need fresh legs in there.
Blessing with a little bit of space, but not much. He'll pick up maybe 2. And we talk about, especially in the defensive backfield, where you see kind of how deep the Red Tornadoes are. Where again, we started with it was with Diaz and Belichick and Kimzel, and you saw Lukoski rode in there,
and
rotating, and Delaney.
Yep.
So they'll keep doing that throughout the night in the season. And it just speaks to how Coach Dara and his staff have been able to develop some of these younger guys. The Spear looks to throw. They're going to throw it back to Schultz, and they love that play. Schultz has a little space on the sideline. He's going to make the first guy miss. Now the second. The third will finally maybe get him. But it's going to be a big play all the way out to the 46-yard line.
And Jim, you're right. Coach Dara loves that play. We love that play. We talked about that play earlier today, the throwback. And now the Red Tornadoes, with a little bit of pace here, they're up on the ball right away.
Red Tornadoes moving faster than the Sticks. And now it's Blessing. And there's just no room in the middle of that Spartan defense for him to get going.
I mean, you talk about that Spartan defensive front, Jimmy. You've got Chawanski as an inside backer. You've got Nikolai Caraballo. You have Bradley Himes, and it looks like is that 56. I'll have to get that right tackle, but they're big and they are stout up front.
Trouble with the snap. Blessing's going to pick it up and try to figure something. And he just flips it forward. What a play by Blessing.
That's a
what
great
a brilliant play by Blessing.
Wow, that is an intelligent play by Blessing, Jim.
Wow. Saved a lot of yards right there.
Yeah, that's huge. And now is there a little discussion here? I mean, he's outside of the pocket and there's no receiver in the area. And it's got past the line of scrimmage. That's all. That's all he needed to do. That was a huge play to save a huge loss here for the Red Tornadoes. But that other Spartan defensive lineman, Braden Lauda, number 54, they're stout right across the board.
So now it's a big third down here for the Red Tornadoes. 3rd and 7. Ball just on their side of the 50. And the Red Tornadoes are going to use another timeout here.
Can't take them with you, Coach. Especially on a big third down, in this area of the field, I think it's a smart choice to take that timeout.
While Coach Dara talks to the squad there, I want to remind you a couple things. We talked about this a little bit last year, the Red Tornado Brick Project. So if you've been in the Silver Bowl in the last few years, you'll see it. It's in the south end zone where the creature bleachers used to be, closest to the grocery store there. And these bricks are available for you to purchase. You can purchase all different sizes. They're 4x8 bricks or 12x12-inch blocks. So what you want to do that is you're going to go to redtornadofootball.com. You might have gone there to get the feed for tonight's game.
Yep.
So you're going to go to redtornadofootball.com, and if you scroll down, you get a good picture of the bricks there. You can see on the right-hand side there's going to be a place to click, and you want to place that order. You have until October 1st to place your order. We'll talk about it a lot over the next 5 or 6 weeks, but you want to get those orders in to get your bricks in before the winter. So again, the Tornado Brick Project, all proceeds go to the general upkeep of the stadium, so it's really a twofer. You get a brick, and you get to support the ground here at the Silver Bowl. All right, 3rd and 7, 5:20 left in the first half, 6-6. Hard count for Spears. The Spartans don't bite. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Spears is going to roll to his right and throw. He gets a good block from Blessing. He takes a shot. Diaz adjusts and just can't quite get there. Spears took a shot, still delivered a pretty good ball, and Diaz did everything in his power to get there.
Yeah, I mean, Diaz again, it was another situation where, the corners is watching his receiver, and Diaz is looking back there for the ball. He nearly got there too, but you're right. Spears took a shot, and we're going to see the Red Tornadoes punt here.
Yeah, but I think with the way your defense is played, this is a little bit easier decision here now to punt it away.
Absolutely, yeah, and especially, Max Karicki at this point 2 for 2 on good punts so far.
Make it 3 for 3. That one's going to be to McGee. He'll take it about the 20. Nice tackle made by Delaney.
Yeah, really nice tackle by Delaney, shedding off a blocker. He was tied up with the guy there, and he was able to shed him and make the really good tackle there on McGee to keep the Spartans, from threatening Red Tornado territory to start this drive.
And again, we talk about Jaden Delaney, the freshman. Certainly Jagger Delaney doing his part on that offensive line as well. So anywhere you look.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about the maybe not the lack of experience, but just the youth on that Red Tornado offensive and defensive line so far. And they have done great up to this point.
Ricky Halford is going to take the snap, and it's going to be pushed inside by Reed right into the waiting arms of Karicki.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do there. As the linebacker, you want to get outside and force that play back in. And as a defensive lineman, Karicki, you want to make that, you want to be in pursuit there. And he did a really good job pursuing and making that tackle.
2nd and 8. And the Red Tornadoes will jump. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Yeah, it's another tough one there for the Red Tornadoes. The noise here, you can't simulate how loud it is here in practice. You really can't do that. You could be piping noise in through the speakers, and you still can't simulate the atmosphere and the real-time noise.
And all to the throw. It's under pressure. It's going to be high. It's intercepted. It's intercepted by Delaney, who makes one man miss. He's down the sideline. He's got blockers in front of him. He's at the 40. He cuts inside. He's still on his feet inside the 20. We'll see where they say he stepped out of bounds, but my goodness, what a play.
Looks like the 13, Jim. They're going to mark him down at the 13.
Oh, my goodness.
And that is huge for the Red Tornadoes
what
there.
What a return.
Yeah, I mean, he made one guy miss and then set up his blockers, gave himself a chance. And what a huge play from, again, the freshman, Jalen Delaney. And we'll see here now the Red Tornadoes lined up. They're checking the play at the line.
Blessing off the right side. It'll be close to a first down.
Yeah, it's a great run by Blessing. I'm not sure if it was Flail or if it was Chawanski. It was one of the 30s there. Had a hold of his jersey. He drug him along for 9 yards before finally relenting and getting pushed out of bounds. So that's a good vision there by Blessing too. Our angle, we could see that hole develop, and Blessing saw it as well and got there.
2nd and 2 from the 5. Now it's Diaz, and Diaz is going to pick his way. He's going to get upfield, and he's in. 5-yard run, Xavier Diaz. 12-6 Red Tornadoes, 3:35.
And Jim, that 1-2 punch in the backfield there when we do go tight of Blessing and Diaz. We saw it last year. Diaz just over 900 yards, 909 yards on 92 carries last year. Blessing 654 yards on 92 carries last year, and they accounted for 27 touchdowns on the ground between the two of them. When they're both in the backfield, that's a dangerous offense.
Choppy's kick is up, and it's good. 13-6 Red Tornadoes here on opening night at the Silver Bowl. Again, tonight's game sponsored by Shimmock's Furniture Outlet here in Mount Carmel.
Yeah, and Jim, I know it's a little late here. We're, just nearly 3.5 minutes away from halftime. But while we have a second here, I'll talk about what I saw as tonight's keys for the game. So we'll start with the Red Tornadoes, who got the lead right now. So for the Red Tornadoes, their keys to the game, I have settle in, protect, and stay balanced. Settle in. It's game 1, week 1. You're finally getting a chance to play against somebody different, somebody that's not on your team. So you get excited. It seems like they've done that to this point. Protect the football. Protect your quarterback. And protect yourself from injuries. They've been doing a good job of that so far early on in this game and staying balanced. And they have. We've got a rushing touchdown and we've got a receiving touchdown. And defensively, they've been doing a great job. For North Schuylkill, their keys, I have established the run, get after the passer, and challenge the defense. We talked about the youth on the Red Tornadoes offensive line. North Schuylkill wants to get after the passer. They want to establish that run game, which they did early on, but they've been kind of putting the ball in the air here, more so going out throughout this, and challenge the defense. And they've challenged this Red Tornado defense. They've taken them to the brink. All the way down to the 1-yard line on the first drive. But the Tornadoes defense has seemed to answer the call so far.
Nice kick from Choppy. He's going to be fielded by Flail at the 13. He's going to come right up now. He's going to kick to the sideline. Nice job by Fesniak, not letting him get outside, and it looks like Blessing's going to clean it up. It'll be 1st and 10 Spartans around the 32-yard line.
That's a great job by Fesniak, Jim, because it's so difficult as they call them gunners, the outside kickoff guys getting down there, staying in your lane, because Flail, he tried to decoy him a little bit. He went straight up the middle and then broke it outside. He was trying to get those outside guys. Yeah, he was trying to get those outside guys to kind of pinch inward and then beat him to the corner. But Fesniak did a great job staying in his lane and making the play.
Spartans will come out a little tighter than we've seen them in the last couple drives. We have a bunch to the right. No bite on the hard count.
And we'll see a different down lineman at the nose, Jim. I think that's Al Bailey at the nose.
High snap, and all the takes. He's going to get, and Reed blows it up in the backfield. Maddox Reed, the leading tackler from last season, shows why with a big tackle for loss.
Yeah, Maddox Reed had 106 23 tackles last year, 10 of them for loss. So he's starting off early, getting in that backfield this year.
Loss of 3. So Dan, yeah, so Bailey's in there. Again, Widener to his right, Kricky to his left, and then Schultz on that defensive end.
Yep, and yeah. And now you got a lot of pressure coming from the Tornadoes.
Now Minalda's going to try to swing it out. Lukoski does a good job of getting upfield, but Flail puts his head down and picks up some yards.
Yeah, I think he's going to have enough for the first down.
You see, Lukoski does a good job of trying to get upfield.
Yeah,
missed tackles there, but Flail's a strong kid. And give Blitcher credit, trying to get in there and rip the ball out.
Yeah, and that's we see that from the Blitchicks, from both of them. They are ball hawks, whether it's intercepting the ball or going after it. You know, when you got a guy stacked up, they do a great job defensively.
I'm going to try to set up a screen to Flail. Diaz read it the whole way.
That was very well read by Diaz. He just followed Flail in. He was manned up on him outside, and as Flail went inside, that's an indication. That's like, you know, making a read there as a defensive back. That's an indication they're going for a screen. He's not going to be going inside for anything else, unless the run's coming there or the pass is going there.
We're under 2 minutes now in the first half. 13-6 Red Tornadoes. Minalda's going to throw. He's looking, and it's outside. Incomplete.
Yeah,
intended for Stanakis.
Yeah, it looked like Stanakis lost his feet there. And Lukoski that got their feet tangled up. Incidental contact. But you hear some people, you know, a little bit of moaning and groaning going on. You see a receiver on the ground and an incomplete pass, you think there's going to be a penalty there. But it looked like they got their feet tangled up.
It'll be 3rd down now. But on the play to Flail, the inside kind of screen there, Diaz played that as well as you can, but the problem there is all body positioning, right?
Yeah.
Flail got inside, which Diaz is happy to let him go there.
Right.
And then Minalda throws a good ball, and it's the best you can do is stop him for 6.
Right.
And now it's
Absolutely.
a read option. Minalda keeps it himself in the middle of the first down inside the 45.
Yeah, Jim, now we're down under 2 minutes here. So this drive here for North Schuylkill, they're trying to knot this thing back up before we go to the half. And so you see a little bit more tempo from them.
Minalda straight back to throw. He's got time. Now he's under pressure from Widener. He's going to going to run out. Diaz will force him out of bounds. So nice play by Minalda to get what he can and stop the clock with 1:29 left and the ball at about the 38-yard line.
Yeah, that was a good job there by Minalda. You're right. And again, you know, we talked about Minalda, first-year starter last year, second-year starter this year. You get those instincts. You feel that pressure coming off the backside. You get the internal clock go off. He tucked it and made a nice run.
Now that's a good play to Chawanski. And we talk about how strong he is. He's going to pick up a lot of yards after he got hit. It's a good read by Minalda. The Red Tornadoes, it looked like they brought, was that Lukoski off the edge?
Yeah, I believe it was, which is your corner out there. That's your outside contain guy.
There's a Red Tornado down on the field.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, I believe it is number 3, Maddox Reed, down again.
While he's being tended to again, just want to thank Schumach's Furniture World here in Mount Carmel for their sponsorship of tonight's game. It is 13-6. The Red Tornadoes on top of the visiting Spartans with 1:20 to go here in the first half. The Red Tornadoes found their backs up against the wall pretty early. The Spartans took the opening kick, drove all the way down the field. The Red Tornadoes turned them away as we see Reed get up and he'll walk off. Red Tornadoes turned them away at about the 1-inch line.
Yeah.
And just a few plays later, Spears and Diaz connected for an 87-yard touchdown to put the Red Tornadoes up 6-0. Then a 2-yard run from Joey Flail for the Spartans, knotted it at 6, and the Red Tornadoes took their 13-6 lead thanks to a 5-yard rush from Diaz. So Reed all the way to the sideline here. We're going to get started. Official put the ball back in play, so that clock is running. Minalda to throw. It's a hitch and go. He's looking for Flail. It was read well by Delaney, but it's caught by Flail.
Wow.
And that's why he had 15 touchdowns last year, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, he high pointed that ball. He went up there and got it. That was, and again, you know, I talked about it earlier. You know, Ronaldo can make some, you know, maybe not the best. You know, we might look at it and say that's not the best idea to make that throw, but he's confident enough to make those throws in Flail's direction because he's been there for him so often.
Now Metzger's going to come in and try to tie it, but as you saw there from the replay, you got to give Delaney all the credit in the world. He couldn't have played that any better.
Oh, the coverage was impeccable.
He's in Flail's pocket, but Flail just made a nice play on the ball. Red Tornadoes come after it. Mentzer's kick is up and good. And with a minute 5 left in the first half, we're back to even at 13. Now, Dan.
We talk about this every time that we're in a situation like this. You got a minute and 5 seconds left. You have 1 timeout left. Now, that's the situation that's different. Normally, Coach Dara hangs on to those 4. But again, it's week 1. You know, alignment, everything is important. So, but you've got a minute 5 seconds, you got a timeout left. Are we running a 1-minute drill here and trying to put points on the board? Or are we content to take this to the half, a tie ball game?
Well, and that's the tricky part, because I think there's a lot of variables here, more so than normal even. So number 1, the Spartans have all 3 of their timeouts.
Right.
So if the Red Tornadoes want to get funky, throw 2 incompletions, and now it's 3rd and long, well, the Spartans will be happy to, you know, take the ball back if they can get that 3rd down stop. The Red Tornadoes also are getting the ball to start the second half, which doesn't always seem to happen.
Right.
So you wonder if Coach Dara has that in his back pocket as well.
But, yeah, but again, you know, hey, can we take this into the half, or do we want to go for a 2-for-1? You know what I mean? Get one before the half, come back out, score one on our first drive of the second half. It's a 2-possession, 2-score swing at that point.
Let's see if Mentzer opts to drill this into the end zone again, or give it's high, so they're going to get a return out of it. Diaz will take it at the 3. Diaz in space is dangerous. He gets to the outside. Nice job by the Spartans, stopping him short of the 20.
Yeah, they hemmed him in there pretty well. When you see Diaz start to work to the edge, you know, everybody it takes the breath out of you, because he's electric and he's liable to hit the sideline and go. But the Spartans did a good job there, staying in their lanes and making the tackle.
It looks like the Red Tornadoes are going to go tight here, which, admittedly, I think probably the right approach.
But that doesn't always mean that they're going to run the ball into the ground either, Jim. We've seen them throw the ball out of this plenty of times.
It's fair. They're going to hand it to Diaz. And he's going to get himself out of bounds, so we'll stop the clock and get another option here.
Yeah, I mean, that's big.
When you see him realize he can get the corner and watch him really, where he goes from being a patient runner to an explosive one, it's something to watch.
It really is, Jim, because you're right. You can see it happening. You see it developing, and once he realizes that he has that sideline, he hits another gear.
Again, Delaney, Spears, Erb, Lamas, and Shimko on that offensive line, providing Spears and company with all the support they need thus far. And Spears is going to run it himself. And he's going to take a shot from Chawanski.
And we've got a timeout, North Schuylkill.
Doesn't surprise me one bit.
Nope. Because realistically, I mean, even if the Red Tornadoes are able to run this down to 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and the Spartans have to use all 3 of their timeouts, which at this point they may only need to use 1 if they're able to get a 3rd down stop here. There's so many variables. The Red Tornadoes have to punt. There could be a bad snap. You can block the punt. There could be a punt return could happen. There's so many variables. And then you give your quarterback, Minalda, an opportunity to throw another jump ball to flail.
And that's what I was going to say. I don't know how strong Minaldo's arm is. It looks very strong. I mean to say I don't know exactly how far he can throw it, but even Coach Dara made a point in one of the articles in the paper that I think it was the Press about Flail's ability to win those 50-50 balls.
Yep.
So if I get an opportunity, if I'm Coach Hall and I have any shot at all of getting Flail in the end zone and throwing the ball somewhere in his vicinity, I'm going to take it.
Absolutely. You got to take that chance.
So it'll be 3rd and 4 from the 25. You got to think if the Red Tornadoes can pick up 4 yards here, it probably effectively ends the half. Any more, maybe they keep moving. Any less, you'll see a timeout from the Spartans. They're going to pitch it to Blessing. He's got a little space out there. He's going to put his head down. He's got the first down, and he's got more. And there goes Blessing. He's down the right sideline, makes another man miss. He's inside the 20. He's going to be all the way down inside the 10. Oh, my goodness. They'll say he's out of bounds. Where are they going to say he's out of bounds? Is it the 4? Did he get inside the 5?
It looks like maybe even the 3, Jim, but wow. Talk about a change here. And now we got an official timeout, which is also going to save the Red Tornadoes from having to use time, because I'm not sure if Blessing did get out of bounds or not, but the official timeout is for a Spartan injured on the play.
My goodness. So
I get a better look here if he got out of bounds. Oh, there was a little face mask there that was missed. But, I mean.
Great camera work, by the way, by the TV studio. Great job, guys. So, again, WKMC TV, right? This is a student-run TV studio. That's why it's so impressive, the product you get week in and week out here. Between what you're able to see through the cameras, the actual action on the field, the cheerleaders, the band, everything that goes on here. Heck, even the crowd is A1 when you're here at the Silver Bowl.
Absolutely, Jim. And I wasn't able to see who it was that's down for the Spartans, but I believe it was the one that was able to make the tackle, that was able to kind of track Blessing down. And I do think you're right. I believe it was number 33, Keegan Curry, because he was the one that was able to get there and make that tackle.
And give him a lot of credit. I mean, if you watch Keegan on that play as he's up, which is great news, and they'll help him get off the field, he had to get the angle right.
Yep.
Which is always a hard thing to do when you're coming across the field.
It most definitely is. I mean, that's one, and it's one of the hardest things to teach too. I mean, not only getting the angle, but getting on the back hip so you don't over pursue and give a cutback lane. That's the most important thing that he did there.
Now, 1st and goal from the 3. The Red Tornadoes have just under 31 seconds and 1 timeout. Spears keeps himself off the right side, and he's going to be short.
Just short. So now do we use the timeout? Or the Red Tornadoes quickly up to the line here? You have to be quick.
Coach Dara was trying to get that called. A little upset with how long it took to actually get the call. Things that cost him his offense a few seconds there, and he might be right.
And Jim, the problem there was you saw the Red Tornado sideline waiting for an indication, 2nd down or touchdown. By the time that they got the indication that it was 2nd down, they're trying to get the timeout in, and the referees are converging to set the ball.
So now you got to think again, and Coach Dare has done this a long time with a lot of success, especially here at Mount Carmel. This is 2 plays, right? You're calling 2 plays?
Yeah, but I think you're right on that. But I think you see Maddox Reed in that huddle. We're going to see Spears come to the sideline, and we're going to see Maddox Reed in front of Luke Blessing here.
Ooh. So a 24 in the backfield in kind of a wildcat formation.
Yeah.
Have we seen that before?
We've seen it plenty of times over the years, Jim. Even back to when I played.
Stellar, Lamb, right? Yeah. I've seen a lot of different guys. The Red Tornadoes need a yard here. They got 19 seconds to do it.
And everybody's inside the hashes here.
We're going to get a stoppage.
Is it a flag?
I don't see a flag anywhere.
No, neither
They
do
reset the clock to 21 seconds, so Coach Dara got a couple of those seconds back.
Okay. But in this situation, because you have Spears right next to you on the sideline, if there's something goes awry and you know you lose a couple yards, you don't want to go with the Wildcat. Spears has a play for him to hustle in there and get up to the line and get it off.
So Bailey and Reed to the right in kind of a stack formation of Blessing. He takes a snap. He's going to right behind him, and Blessing is in. There it is. Touchdown, Red Tornadoes. And now we're going to have some extracurriculars in the end zone, but after the play, so the touchdown should stand.
Yeah, and Jim,
19-13 Mount Carmel.
Jim, this is shades of last year's North Schuylkill game. We saw Blessing break a huge run in a big situation, and then, you know, it was Spears at that time that punched it in for, you know, a 2-yard plunge. But this time, Blessing finishes it out for a huge run and a huge 6 points for the Red. Now we'll see which way these penalties go and if they're going to be assessed on the kick or the point.
And I think the difference, Dan, the only difference I can see between last season, as we get the personal foul against the Red Tornadoes, personal foul against the Spartans, these will offset, and we'll all live to play another down.
Okay. Okay.
Shoppy on for the kick, but Dan, I think the difference last year is, if I remember correctly, between Blessing's run, long run, and Spears' run was a literal lightning strike.
Yes, there was a lightning strike not far from Gauche Orthodontic Stadium over there.
Shoppy up and good, and it's 20-13. Red Tornadoes back on top.
And Jim, you talk about the lightning strike in the game last year. There has been plenty of lightning strikes on this field tonight, and it has just been a battle back and forth here. And the Red Tornadoes now, barring something crazy happening on this kickoff here, are hoping to take a 7-point lead into the half. After, you know, 45 seconds ago, we talked about the possibility of the Red Tornadoes being content to go into the halftime.
We've got 17 seconds still to play here in the first half. Red Tornadoes will be honoring teams of yore here tonight at halftime. We'll have an extended halftime. But we'll see here what Shoppy opts to do with this one. It will be we mentioned that before. The 1963 team as well as the 71-72 teams here now probably honored at halftime. But Flail and McGee back deep would love nothing more than to get a nice fieldable kick, something they can make a little magic on.
Let's see Shoppy pop one up here.
Bingo, Dan. It's going to be short. It's going to drop in there. It's going to get kicked backwards, so they'll do a nice job. The Spartans will have recovering it. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 30 with 15 seconds to go. Now, again, the Spartans do still have 2 timeouts remaining.
They do.
And with Minalda and company, I wouldn't expect Coach Hall to just run into the ground here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see here. Maybe with 2 timeouts, you kind of probe the defense a little bit. You run a screen play or a draw, something to see kind of how they're sitting back, and then you make a decision from there after you call, you know, one of your timeouts of what you want to do. And now you see the deep safeties here playing extra deep to ensure.
Minalda rolls to his right. He's going to throw it, and it's going to be over everybody.
Well, you talked about the arm strength of Minalda. He showed it there. But it appeared that there was, maybe not confusion. It could have been by design, but the whole bunch there for the Spartans kind of took their time coming off the line. So I'm not sure if they wanted to let Minalda kind of roll out and then have Flail, you know, sort of hit that second gear, or if there was just some confusion. You never know. It is week 1.
It'll be double twins here. And Aldi's going to have Chwanski as a personal protector there. 9 seconds left. And he's going to keep it himself, realizing the Red Tornadoes are probably soft up the middle as they drop into coverage, but they're never that soft. Good stop there. Looked like it was that Kimsel that came up and made the tackle. So we'll get a timeout here by the Spartans with just over a second left in the first half. And again, this is, I'm not sure what Minalda's arm strength is, but I got to think he can get it close from here.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's probably, because I kind of looked at the clock and was wondering why take the timeout now with 1.5 seconds left. One, you can't take them with you. I talk about that all the time. But two, you're right. You get 10 yards there. Now you give Minalda a chance. As long as the protection is there and he has the time to, he may be able to get it close to that end zone, if not in there.
This is where you see number 7, Tate Adams. Right, he's going to get out there as well. Tate's a bigger kid, 6 foot, 6'1", 170 pounds. So Red Tornado's putting some arms and legs out there to kind of get a little, be able to neutralize a guy like Flail a little bit more, as they have three deep safeties around.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, though.
The 35-yard line, right.
And you see everybody, even the guys in coverage up front there with a nice cushion.
And they're going to run a double reverse to Flail. Too many red jerseys, though. Great play.
Was that
Lukoski, I think, to end the first. He won't get the tackle, but he stopped it. But in any event, that's the end of the first 24 minutes here. And after the first half of the first game of the season, the Red Tornadoes lead the visiting North Schuylkill Spartans 20-13. As we said, we've got an extended halftime here, so we'll be back in just a bit with stats from Jose in the second half. Stay with us.
To recognize the 1971 and 72 MCA cross-country teams. Both teams were coached by the legendary Gerald Breslin and finished their season with a terrific 21-3 record in 1971 and a 23-1 mark in 1972. The 72 squad opened their season with a 27-28 loss to Milton and then ran the table to that 23-1 mark. Both teams captured the Susquehanna Valley League Championship. The 23 wins represent the most ever for a Tornado cross-country team to this date, while the 44 wins over the 2-year period is also the best ever for a 2-year span. Both squads finished second to Williamsport in the District 4 meet and qualified to send a 6-man squad to the PIAA state meet. In 1971, Jeff Yoder placed 46th in the state, and ironically, Mr. Breslin chose not to send the boys to states in 1972 as SATs were scheduled for that morning. Both teams certainly set the bar for cross country at MCA. Members here with us tonight are Dominic Manello, Lenny Washaleski,
Yeah, I was laying down.
Marvin Kuzo,
I'm always
Phil
chilling.
Kozlowski,
I lay down during halftime. I don't leave.
Ed Medalis,
What? I literally have my bag upstairs yesterday. No, I bring
and
it
Tim
every-
Katona. Tim is also celebrating his 50th anniversary of capturing the state championship in the 330-yard hurdles in 1972. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause in honoring 1963 MCA football and 1971 and 72 Red Tornado cross country.
our pictures.
Well, it doesn't during
This one?
Please give one more round of applause for the North Schuylkill Spartan High School Marching Band.
Hey, welcome back to the Silver Bowl. It's opening night, and the Red Tornadoes are on top of the visiting Spartans 20-13 after the first half of play. Again, this WKMC TV broadcast is sponsored tonight by Shimmock's Furniture World. So, Dan, a little bit different first half maybe than I thought we were going to see. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we saw, obviously the dimensions of this new look Red Tornadoes offense, but we also saw, the defense. We talked about them losing to graduation and pursuing other opportunities, over 400 tackles from last year, but the Red Tornado defense has played outstanding to this point. And I mean, the offense has been just as well. We talked about those skill guys, Blessing and Diaz, and we've got Diaz with 2 touchdowns and Blessing with 1, and one of those was on a connection from Spears to Diaz. Spears was the other guy we kind of linked to the last year's game against North Schuylkill. So we're seeing the skill guys that we anticipated, making a splash in tonight's game have done so far. And then, the youth of this Red Tornadoes team, freshman Jalen Delaney with an interception setting up a Red Tornadoes touchdown, and freshman Max Karicki not only helping the team out punting the ball, but on that defensive line has been causing a lot of chaos. And seeing Ryan Widener in there on the defensive line, 2 sacks, which kind of stifled a North Schuylkill drive.
Yeah, it's a great point, Dan. And I think another thing we touched on when we talk about kind of a little bit of youth, again, you made a good point. Youth, not necessarily an experience, as a lot of these kids had opportunities to play last year.
Yeah.
But that offensive line for the Red Tornadoes, we've talked about it before. We'll talk about it, ad nauseum, right, throughout the course of the season with the work they've done. Again, it's Shimko, Lamas, Herb, Spears, and Delaney tonight. Really, for the most part, keeping Spears clean.
Yeah.
I mean, Spears is always going to have a dirty jersey because he's that kind of kid. He's getting his nose up in there between the tackles. But they did a really nice job of giving him a pocket to throw from, giving him time for some of those. I mean, you think about the Diaz. Again, Diaz did most of the work there. Probably ran for 50 of the 37 or the 87 yards.
Right.
But Spears needed that time to deliver a good ball, and he got it, and he's gotten it most of the night.
Yeah, you're right. He has had like you said, a clean pocket, and they've given him time for those longer developing plays. Even that rollout throwback play that didn't go for a huge gain, but a first down for the Red Tornadoes to Schultz towards the end of the first half there. It's been, Spears hasn't really been under a ton of duress unless something kind of goes awry in the backfield.
And on the other side, the Spartans, I think, and we talked a little bit about this off air during halftime, right, Dan, that kind of think you're going to see the Spartans run the ball a little bit more in the second half. On the first drive of the game where the Red Tornadoes ultimately turned them away at about the 1-inch line, they had some success running the ball, whether it was Minalda keeping it or McGee and Stanakis on some of those kind of inside handoffs, those Sally traps that the Red Tornadoes would run from time to time.
Yeah.
But they kind of got away from it as the half went on. Minalda threw it a lot. He put it up there a lot. Again, so when you throw it that much, you get the touchdown to Flail,
right?
But you also get the interception by Delaney.
Yep.
It's kind of a good and bad.
Yeah, and Jim, we talked about it. We thought that the strength of the Spartans coming into this game was going to be the experience and the size on their offensive line. I think they tried to kind of exploit that. They knew they were going to be able to give Minalda some time, which he hasn't had a ton to throw the ball.
No.
And they were trying to work the edges when they were running the ball. They had most of their success on those jet sweeps, getting outside, and then making their cuts from there. I anticipate seeing a lot more of that here in the second half. With the Spartans only down a score, there's no need to press. You don't have to go into emergency mode and be throwing the ball this whole second half. I anticipate when they get the ball back, whether it's a 1-score game or a 2-score game, them to definitely put the ball on the ground more often.
Menser will start the second half here. His kick will be taken. Well, we'll see. It's going to bounce. Diaz is going to let it get out of bounds. My goodness. So it'll be good field position here for the Red Tornadoes to get started. But, Dan, you make a really good point there. 1 possession or 2 possession. That's kind of the dangerous spot the Spartans defense finds itself here in that the Spartans won the toss, elected to get the ball first. The Red Tornadoes were able to turn them away. But then on the back end of the first half, the Red Tornadoes score with 15 seconds left.
Yeah,
now they've got a 2-for-1, as you called it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we talked about there, that 2-for-1, and hopefully the Red Tornadoes are able to find some life here to start the second half. You don't want to come out of the second half flat, especially when you're getting the ball. You need to start fast, and they're opening things up right away.
The count of the kickoff going out of bounds will be 1st and 10 from the 35. And it'll be a handoff to Blessing, who got going at the end of the first half and has possibly his second best run of the night, aside from the longer one, but he is down on the turf for the moment.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see Blessing being tended to here.
Red Tornadoes come to the sideline again. Cricky out there. For the Red Tornadoes, you'll see it looks like number 21. We do not have a 21 on the roster tonight, so we'll get that corrected going into next week. Said it before, first week for all of us, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Try to give a listen to Mr. Demansky and the PA to our left here. See if he can help us out with who that young man, which young man that jersey might belong to.
You see Blessing off the field under his own strength, which is great to see, because he had a big first half and was poised to kind of break out here in the second half.
Spears is going to throw, and he's looking for Diaz, and he's got him. A great adjustment by Diaz. He had to turn himself all the way around. It's going to be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes inside the 35.
And Jim, just as you touched on it, I was thinking the exact same thing. The adjustment is huge. Just being able to go from looking inside, realizing that pass is outside, and making the adjustment. A great throw and catch there Spears turned Diaz out that way, away from the defender. It was a great all-around.
Now Diaz shaking up on the sideline, so we can keep, the game will continue. There was a little bit of a stoppage, but the Red Tornadoes are going to keep it moving. And that pass is going to be high for Delaney. And I think fortunately it was.
Yeah.
Because it looked like, I think that's Keegan Brown.
Yes, who we saw down at the end of the first half there, so it's good to see him back on the field as well. But you're right, Jim. I think that pass had to be high. It was just a little bit too high for Delaney. But, you know, we talked about, you know, we saw Blessing go down, and then we see Diaz go down. It's the humidity out here. You can see they're kind of hobbling around. Just looks like just cramps, thankfully. Hopefully we can get these guys back out on the field quickly.
Spears will throw again. He's got time, sets his feet, and he delivers a ball to Belichick. It's caught inside the 5. Belichick's in. Touchdown, Red Tornadoes, 33 yards from Cole Spears to Chase Belichick. And it's 26-13 Mount Carmel, wasting no time getting back in the end zone here in the second half.
And Jim, when you have Diaz sidelined, you have Blessing sidelined, this is the depth that we've talked about at the skill position for the Red Tornadoes. It's next man up. Now, thankfully, these guys, it looks like Blessing's ready to get back out on the field. Diaz is doing the same here. But, you know, just for the player or two that they have to miss, it's next man up, and they've got the depth at the skill position to be able to put 6 points on the board against a stout North Schuylkill defense with whoever they could put out there on the field.
Shoppy's kick up and good. And it's 27-13 early here in the second quarter, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a impressive drive from the Red Tornadoes to start the second half. And again, now the Spartans are going to receive the ball here down 2 scores.
And while we get situated here, speaking of scores, we were taking a look at some scores from around the area here during halftime. We've got Danville on top of Bloomsburg, 48-0 here in the third quarter. Southern Columbia, 50-0 over Berwick. I swear a second ago it was 36.
Yeah, you're right.
Hughesville and Montgomery locked up at 6. Shamokin leads Lewisburg 7-6. And Jersey Shore leads Pottsville 40-7. So,
and Jim, you know, we talk about this. This is not time for the Spartans to go into panic mode. And this has been, as you see, the great shots here down on the field by this Mount Carmel area TV studio crew, getting us right in the action. But, you know, we talked about, and last year, the Red Tornadoes at one point took a 2-score advantage, and the Spartans, they just hung in there. And they came back, and it ended up a 1-score game. So you can't think it's over until it's over.
McGee certainly feels that way as he takes the return from about the 15 out across the 40. It looks like they're going to say he stepped out right at the 45. So once again, good field position for the Spartans.
And Jim, another thing that I've noticed from the Spartans, and it's probably by design because you always like running to your own sideline, but all the kick returns have ended up over on that sideline for the Spartans. You know, whether they set up a wall over there, try to set up a return, or if it's just, you know, it's a comfortability thing where, you know, let's get to our sideline and try to make something happen. But it's every single return has ended that way.
So similar look for the Spartans. Minalda looks to the sideline. Trips receiver to the right side. Wachowski will bail at the last second. You're going to get it to Flail. There's a flag on the play, so I do think this one's going to come back, but a good effort by Flail to get inside the 40. I think it's going to come all the way back.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, excuse me. They're going to tack 15 onto it, roughing the passer against the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, that one, it looked like it was in the area of holding, you know, normally near the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, but that's going to be a tough one there for the Big Red.
See the replay here, and it wasn't much, but it was enough. So a good play to begin with for the Spartans will be made even better as they're going to move this ball all the way down to, let's see where they stop. If they stop at this point, that'll be inside the 25. It looks like they're going to set it to 24. So a big flip of the field right there, and the Spartans are knocking on the door of the red zone. Minaldo to throw. He's going to flip it out to Flail again. And he's got some space. Now that one I'm more confident in a hold.
Yeah, we saw that, and everyone was waiting for it. Thankfully, it came in there that time around. Like you said, Jim, it turned into a big play for the Spartans, but unfortunately, it's going to come back. It's probably going to end up being, looks like it's about 5 yards upfield, so probably about a 1st and 15 now, instead of a 1st and 10 in the red zone.
While they kind of adjudicate this, just want to go back. Number 21, we're making an update here. Cooper Cricky was the young man that stepped in there when Blessing came to the sideline. We're going to walk this off. Pretty good, Dan. Pretty good.
Yeah,
1st and 16.
I like to think I know what I'm talking about every once in a while.
But now we've got a red tornado down.
And we'll try and see who that is, because it went down late. And that's again, you go into the locker room, your body has a chance to rest. So that you have the extended halftime as well. And your body has extra time to rest. So you come back out here, you're trying to go 100 miles an hour right from the jump. This is going to happen on a hot, humid night like tonight.
And Dan, you've played in games like these before. What are you doing in the locker room? Is it all bananas and Gatorade?
It seems like it changes every year what the best practice is. But you know, it's usually we called it jungle juice. It was watered down Gatorade. So you were getting the electrolytes, but you were also getting the water in there. And it was pretzels too, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you whatever and that was Belichick, Chase Belichick. So he's back on his feet coming off the field. But I can tell you one thing. You made the point that it seems like the best practice is changing year over year.
Yeah.
I can tell you whatever the best practice is what they're doing, because Tom Swaldy wouldn't have anything less than the best.
Absolutely not. I mean, the research and development that goes into making sure everybody on the field is properly given the right amount of nutrients and everything. Star Physical Therapy is great.
Minaldo to throw over the middle, and a great play by Kimzel. Kimzel was there right at when the ball got there, and I'm telling you, if he was half a second earlier, he would have been going the other way. So a great play by Kimzel.
Incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 16.
2nd and 16 now, 10:32. Still the play here in the third, 27-13 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, it's again, another big play there in the defensive backfield. They've been stepping up in this game so far.
Minaldo under pressure, he floats it out, incomplete. He was looking for McGee, but even if McGee had pulled it in, he was going to be dropped immediately by Matthew Belichick.
Yeah, it was a great job there.
And this is the danger. This is what happens, and give the Red Tornadoes up front credit again. You see, it's Cricky, it's Bailey, and in that case, the pressure was both Widener, and I'm not sure who was on the other side. Maybe it was Bailey with him. But the two Red Tornadoes on that side kind of got through pretty quickly. And if you can get pressure with your front four, it's really tough for a team to throw the football.
You're in great shape if those main guys are getting the pressure for you.
And again, Minaldo's got to move out of the pocket. He's going to run. There's a lot of red jerseys there. He's going to do a nice job putting his head down and picking up some yardage, but he'll still be short, and he'll be 4th down, and Coach Hall's going to have to make a decision if he wants to try to pick up the first on what looks like it's going to be about a 4th and 6.
Yeah.
Or kick with Menser. And
speaking of 6, I believe that was Jalen Delaney that came up to make that tackle on the outside.
He just sticks his nose in there, man. He puts a hat on a hat and makes plays.
He does, and credit to both Delaney and Minaldo, because Minaldo had no intention of stepping out of bounds. He put his shoulder down as well.
So 4th and 6, here we go. Minaldo under pressure. Bailey's coming at him. Cricky's coming at him. It's caught by
short.
McGee, but he's short. Going to be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes going the other way. So that defense holds yet again tonight in a major way.
Yeah, that was another huge stop now for the Red Tornadoes, because now You get the score to start the second half. You get the stop on your first defensive series. Now you've got a chance to put some distance between yourselves. And while we're, actually, we got some stats here from Jose, but we can get to them at some point a little bit later on from the first half, because the Red Tornadoes are on the ball and they're ready to go.
They're not going to give us a lot of opportunity to do a whole lot of talking in between plays, I think, if they can help it, Dan.
Yeah, they probably get sick of hearing me when they watch on Wednesday nights, so I understand that.
Now I see Widener heads in there. Looks like that's designed to perhaps give Bailey a blow. And they're going to hand it to Blessing. Blessing off the right side. He's trying to get the edge, and he's got it. A lot of white jerseys over there. Blessing does a great job staying in bounds, walking that tightrope, and picking up a first down, a gain of 11.
Yeah, and that's, Jim, it seems like that's the lane for Blessing right now. It's inside and then immediately out off that right side. So it must be something that they've seen, and credit to Blessing for adjusting, you know, not just running that straight into the defensive line. That's the, you know, the teeth of the Spartans defense. He's finding the seam to get to the sideline, which is where any running back wants to be.
First and 10 at the 27. Spears keeps this one himself. He'll get out over the 30 to maybe a 31. Give him a gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
And Jim, you know, sometimes I question whether they're designed like that or if that's a read, but looking at the way Delaney kind of looked for the ball after Spears pulled it and kept it himself, that's a read that Spears is making, whether he's going to keep that or not, which is a lot of responsibility for a quarterback, but Spears in his second year at the helm doing a great job of it.
Now he's going to throw, and he's got Delaney in the middle of the field, and it's almost caught. That's a great effort by Delaney. Number 1, Luke Miller for the Spartans kind of got his mitts in the eye line of Delaney to complicate that catch. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the ball couldn't have been placed any better, Jim. Spears has been on target and on time all night tonight. He's been impeccable.
It's also when it's almost like a cover 2 that the Spartans are running. They got those 2 high safeties, and the Red Tornadoes are having success when they go right in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get a timeout here by Coach Dara, as the Red Tornadoes had a little bit of a personnel change and had some challenges getting the alignment just as they wanted it.
Yeah, you saw Coach Dara kind of jumping up and down, trying to get the attention. He didn't want to have to waste a timeout this early here in the second half. But again, with the potential to kind of blow this one open, you know, you need to take advantage, and you can't have missteps on this drive. You need to convert this 3rd down. But while we have a second here, we can get to the stats from Jose. Thank you, Jose. You know, not only were you honored before the game, you helped kind of organize the halftime events here. So thank you for getting the stats to us. So for the Red Tornadoes, 18 rushing attempts for 119 yards, 5 of 9 passing for 126, 6 first downs, and obviously at the half there it was 20 points on the board. For the Spartans, 21 rushing attempts for 78 yards, 12 of 19 passing for 112 and 11 first downs, which accumulated to that 13 points on the board.
So 3rd and 6, Mount Carmel's going to open up. 3 receivers to the left and a single back. It's Blessing. They're going to throw to Delaney, but the Spartans, as they've done all night, and really Keegan Brown has been there blowing up those kind of rocket screens before they get started.
Yeah, he's been reading those well. And again, that's the defensive backs. I mean, we saw it with Diaz on the tunnel screen to Flail in the first half. Those defensive backs, that, you know, when you're in man coverage, it makes stopping a screen like that so much easier, because you're just following your guy. You see him running in or running out and not coming downfield, you know it's probably a screen to him, and that's the only guy you're concerned about, so you can go after it.
It's a low snap. Cricky does a nice job of getting the ball out of there. It's going to be a little bit shorter pump, but he's going to get a nice bounce. Wojcik will stop it inside the 45. It'll be 1st and 10 Spartans from the 42. 8:07 left, 27-13. But Dan, that last possession by the Red Tornadoes, after they got the stop, the Spartans needed a stop.
Oh, absolutely.
2 possessions. There's a lot of game left. Even down 3 scores with 8 minutes in the third, it's nothing would have been over. But the mountain starts to get a little steeper, right? It starts to be a little harder to climb.
Absolutely, it does. And thankfully, for the Red Tornadoes, they've been able to get some good punts today. They got a good punt out there. So you got the Spartans, working with a longer field here than they have been on a chunk of their drives.
Ronaldo still to throw. That's going to be incomplete. Nice job there. Is that Miller or Lukowski?
It was Lukowski.
They were both in the area. Lukowski gave him a little bop there before he could get his feet down.
And listen, that was the difference between, possibly the difference between Flail staying in bounds or catching that ball out of bounds. So really good job there by Lukowski.
But again, I still, and we talked about this to start the second half, I'm still a little bit surprised that the Spartans haven't gone back to running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where they had the most success in the first half. Yes, they've had over 100 yards passing as well, but that was on a lot of passing attempts too.
There you go, Miller. Luke Miller up over the 45. We call it the 47, so it'll bring up 2nd and 5, and there's a Red Tornado down as Maddox Reed. Now, he did get back up, but I think, the officials, he stayed down a little bit too long, young man. You're going to have to head to the sideline for a minute.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
Right.
But again, Jim, we talk about the depth here defensively. Reed comes out, Blessing goes in. Blessing, a very, very good replacement there to step in for Reed if need be. I mean, he's got great instincts, and when he got his chance on the field on defense last year, he was always near the ball.
Now the snap's over Minalda's head, and he just falls on it to not turn it over, but it's a huge loss and will most certainly result in a mincer punt.
Yeah, and now we've got Flail down on the play as well. And after that last one, that incompletion on the sideline there, it looked like Flail was hobbled a little bit. And again, it's probably what everybody else has going on, cramps. But hopefully, he's one of the integral parts to that Spartans defense. Hopefully they can get him back out there for their next drive if the Spartans do opt to punt here, which I would assume they will.
And we talked early on again, just friendly reminder here, WKMC TV broadcast tonight, sponsored by our friends at Shimmock's Furniture World here in Mount Carmel, which we always appreciate the patronage. Crew list tonight, we talked about it being a student-run TV studio, and we really mean that. So from a crew list standpoint, tonight's broadcast, the director is Hannah Forspring, the camera is Samantha Zatney, Corey Carl, and Lucas Lubinsky. They're all on cameras. Graphics, Isabella Jackcool. Replay is Ava Scavery. Photographer is Alyssa Trefsker. And this is all under the direction of Mr. Steven Sakaitis. So we appreciate everybody's help. I can tell just by reading that list that it came from Mr. Trefsker, because he was the only integral part of this operation whose name wasn't mentioned. So don't think we forgot you, Mr. Trefsker. We appreciate everybody's help. And we'll see Flail up and walking off under his own power. Again, 7:22, 27-13, Red Tornadoes. Been really impressed tonight, Dan, by this Red Tornado defense.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. I mean, it's been stout all the way around. I mean, between and again, we talked about it. It's not inexperience. It's just youth. I mean, you've got guys that haven't been on the field that much or ever, in a varsity setting as a starter, or this is their first varsity game ever, and they are playing extremely well.
Yeah. Menser, good punt. It's to Delaney, who's going to fair catch it right at the 34-yard line. And while we have a second here, the other thing we got to talk about, it's Friday, it's football. What did we do last night? Supper Club.
Supper Club.
Right, so Supper Club, you can't forget Supper Club. It's one of the time-honored traditions here at Red Tornado football. That's Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. We're doing it at the Knights of Columbus last night, and I believe the next 2 weeks as well. Eventually, I think around week 4, head back to Matucci's. But you got to make sure you get there early. It's great food, great conversation. You get to meet players, coaches, band members, cheerleaders, TV studio, everybody and the like. And who knows, maybe you'll even find Dan.
Yeah.
So if you have anything to say to Dan, take a look at Supper Club on Thursday nights at the Knights and then at Matucci's. Blessing, a nice little stop there to pick up a yard. And there is another Red Tornado down in the backfield. We'll give you a number on that as soon as we can. But another thing I wanted to reference really quickly, we said at the end of the first half that halftime honored the 63 and 71-72 teams. What we didn't specify is that the 1963 team was a football team, but the 1971-72 teams were cross-country. And those were the first cross-country teams we've ever kind of honored here. Hopefully we get to do that more and more. I will say the cross-country team, well, near and dear to my heart at this point. First meet of the season is Tuesday, so make sure you wish all those young men and women good luck as they make their way. I think they're on the road this Tuesday.
Okay.
So we're here. Again, 7 minutes here, 27-13 Red Tornadoes. Another thing we got to talk about, we did it briefly before, just another friendly reminder, the Brick Project, that south end zone. Again, you want to check that out. You want to come down to the stadium. It's a great little walk as always. Head into the Tornado Alley. Take a look at the bricks. You got 4x8 traditional bricks, more also 12x12 foot bricks. They all kind of go, the 12x12 ones go around the water jet tornado. And again, head out to redtornadofootball.com. On the right side, you're going to find a link to the Brick Project. Click that, fill out the order form. You can engrave the bricks. You have to have those in by October 1st to try to get them in the ground before the winters. We see that with Schultz, who's down, but he's up making his way off the field. But you can get those orders in, then you can kind of, in perpetuity, be a part of the Silver Bowl here as you'll get your brick, and then any proceeds from the sale of the brick will go to support the upkeep of these beautiful facilities. And again, we're here, it's Friday night, we're talking football, but don't forget the beautiful track here, the Jerry Breslin track. We are using this all year round when we can, so you don't only have to come in here on Friday nights. 2nd and 10 at the 33. The Red Tornadoes tighten it back up. Blessing behind Spears. It looks like Widener in there. They're going to hand it to, is that Lukoski?
Yeah, it is Lukoski.
Lukoski came in out of that wing spot to pick up a few.
Yeah, there's a nice little gain there. And we've got another Red Tornado down. And I believe that to be Lukoski.
And again, I think for those of you that have been kind of with us for the last few seasons, there's always a lot going on here. This production that you see, whether it's what you're viewing at home, what you're seeing when you come to the stadium, there's always a lot going on. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of different places to support. We've talked about Supper Club. We've talked about the Brick Project. We can't forget the Mount Carmel Education Association. And again, this is a way for you, wherever you are, right? We know you're out there watching us from sea to shining sea here. Wherever you are, you can support the district through gifts, trusts, requests, whatever you have. You can help, and by doing so, you can kind of help maintain a meaningful and effective learning culture here, if you will, by providing these opportunities, whether it's in the arts, athletics, academics. You kind of have the opportunity to dictate where your trust or your request might go. You can even donate, like I said, specific areas. So if you want to donate to, I don't know, the TV studio perhaps, or the band or the cheerleaders, or anything like that, as we see Lukoski make his way off the field, you can even do so. You can make that gift in honor or memorial of a loved one. So really, however you feel most comfortable doing that. If you have any questions, you can go to www.mca.k12.pa.us or call 570-339-1500 and just let the nice folks there know that you want to support the Mount Carmel Education Association.
Again, we'll see the Red Tornadoes get back on the ball here with a third down, third and about 6. We'll see what they opt to do here. They are tight.
Tried to get a quick 5 there on a hard count. Spartans don't bite. But now the Spartans are going to take a timeout of their own. Again, I think recognizing the importance of this third down.
Yeah. I mean, stopping the Red Tornadoes at this point in the drive, it would be huge, not only from a time aspect, but for confidence as well for that Spartans defense rolling into the offense as well.
Another thing you might have noticed, again, through our terrific camera work tonight, something you don't often see from the Red Tornadoes, at least. Both teams tonight are wearing helmet stickers, and unfortunately in both cases they're in memorial and in respect of fallen members of the communities here. For the Red Tornadoes, it's fallen Ricky Payne, student passed away unexpectedly in the spring, and on the Spartan side, it's to honor Mike Climbara Jr., who similarly passed away unexpectedly. So somewhat heavy hearts here, but we're here trying to have a great night, enjoy our first night back. But it's always nice to see when teams can kind of band together and support their communities the way Mount Carmel and North Schuylkill has tonight.
Absolutely, Jim.
All right, 6:15, not quite at the halfway point of the third quarter. 27-13 Mount Carmel. Spears sends Blessing in motion. He's rolling out to throw, and he's going to flip it back over to Blessing, who's got to make a couple guys miss there. He's not going to be able to do it. Again, the Spartans did a phenomenal job of sniffing that out. Blessing tried to make something out of it.
And again, Jim, it's hard to run a screenplay when your offensive line does such a good job that they haven't been allowing a lot of pressure. So as a defensive lineman, you see, wow, I got in here a lot easier this time around. There's something going on, and usually that's when you kind of break down. You stop going after the quarterback, you break down and try to tip a pass or at least find the running back who's probably going to be catching the screen.
Cricky out to punt again. No rush. That's a low liner, but it's going to get a good bounce. And again, it's going to be picked up now by McGee. The Red Tornadoes do a pretty good job covering that. It looks like that 26 Aiden Dietz, I believe. I think that's a 6.
Joe, I'm not sure exactly what happened there on the Spartans return team. Somebody ran off the field to the sideline as the punt was rolling, but there's no flag for too many men on the field, so maybe a miscommunication in who was supposed to be where.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Spartans. Again, all kinds of time left in this ball game. They trail the Red Tornadoes 27-13. Minalda comes out with 3 receivers to his right and Jawanski to his left. They're going to throw that quick little bubble screen, but Reed diagnoses it immediately. And here come the rest of the cavalry to finish up.
Reed, and you got to give a little bit of credit there to Ben Miller as well, who shut down that edge. He didn't give Flail anywhere to go. Ben Miller, you see here, fighting off the block, forcing Flail to turn inside into the waiting arms of Reed and the cavalry.
So you had Bumps, Belichick, and Karicki in there as well. Minalda with the read option gives it to Chawanski, who gets close to a first down. So he's going to be about a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1 from the 49.
Yeah, I mean, Chawanski was hit about 3 yards, past the line of scrimmage, and was able to fall forward. He kept his balance enough, and now Spartans going pace here.
And it's Chawanski again, and he'll have the first down and a little bit more. He's still on his feet. Still on his feet all the way down to the 35-yard line. So a big gain of 14 on 3rd and 1. And, Dan, Spartans a little success running the ball here.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think we've been doing this for a little bit. And that's what it is, Jim. We talked about how big of an impact Jackson Chawanski could have, and he hadn't really had his opportunity in the first half.
Now, though, some of these offside penalties are getting a little bit interesting. And in that, we don't have the ability to see right down the line.
Right.
They don't look as egregious.
No, they're close. I mean, it's just a flinch at that point.
But nevertheless, 1st and 5 here. Chwanski again. Now that time a nice play made by Reed, but there's a flag, and it was really quick. So I think it's going to be an illegal motion penalty against the Spartans.
So that 5 yards that they got on the offsides is going to take. We're going to go back 5 yards, and it'll be back to a 1st and 10. Oh, and did the Red Tornadoes opt to decline the penalty?
I think they just had to reset the ball.
Okay. Yeah, I was very confused as to to what was going on there. There was some conversation, but again, we keep mentioning it. It is week 1.
Right. Yep, I think what it looked like it happened there is they had to take the ball back to where the play ended. Then they moved it back to where the play started.
Right.
And then they walked off the 5 yards. That's what it seemed like, at least.
I think you're right with that.
Manal is going to flip it out to Miller, and that's a backwards pass. Lukoski not able. That's a tough one. Lukoski's trying to fall on that ball and also orient his body to stay in bounds. Right. So a great effort, but the Spartans will maintain possession, although all the way back at the 45.
Yeah, and I mean that's huge for the Red Tornadoes. The fact that was a backwards pass. I mean, normally that's an incompletion, and you're looking at a 2nd and 10. Now you're looking at a 2nd and 20 because that pass goes backwards.
Flail comes in motion, and they give it to him. But look at all those red jerseys.
Nowhere to go.
Is that Miller? Is Miller the first one on site there?
I think so, Jim, but I'm not.
One of those Red Tornadoes that was moving laterally kind of knifed through the wall the Spartans were trying to set up and got Flail around the shoulders and flung him down. Whether it was Miller or another red jersey, I'm not as clear as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, this has been, and now, we see it, and we've talked about it. I've talked about it a few times today. It seemed like initially in the first half, the Spartans were having success running the ball to the boundary. Now it seems like they've been having more success running the ball up the middle, and which usually happens. I mean, those big guys in the middle, they get beat on all game long. At some point, things are going to soften up. But it's come to a spot now. I mean, again, we keep talking about it. Look at this view that you've got on the screen here. We were basically in the huddle there with Coach Dara, which was
pretty
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, and but it's always give and take. And I mean, being a high school football coach has to be one of the more difficult jobs because things are constantly changing throughout the game. You know what I mean? You have success outside, so hey, let's try to run the ball outside. Well, now we're not having success. Let's run it inside. All right, we're having some success there, and then they shut it down. It's a give and take all game long.
And the holdup there, we didn't get into it too much, but I thought it was Flail that was down, but actually it was Delaney for the Red Tornadoes as he's coming off the field. Under his own power, though, which is always a good thing to see. Looks like it's Fesniak in there now on the outside. The far corner replaced Delaney.
Yeah.
3rd and 20. Miller comes in motion and all the fakes to him. He's going to throw it. He's got McGee, and it's caught, and he is in for a Spartan touchdown. And just like that, from 3rd and 20 to a one-score game, Dan.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, that was a great job by the Spartans to kind of pick that out. You got the fresh legs coming off the sideline. Let's go after him, and he finds Stanakis after he gets behind the defense, and it's a perfect throw and catch from Minaldo to Stanakis, and then the effort by Stanakis at the end.
See the procedure on that? Well, running back jump there.
Mensker's kick is up and good. And so again, just like that, Dan, we're back to a one-score ball game here.
Yeah, this has just been a back and forth game all day long. So it's not surprising. We knew North Schuylkill wasn't going to go away.
No.
Yeah, we knew that wasn't going to happen, and they proved it on that drive. They grinded it out, and came from a 3rd and 20, 3rd and very long, turned it into 6 points.
So now it's up to the Red Tornadoes to respond here. Again, as you talked about it early in the game, Dan, the feeling and the thought as momentum kind of gradually at times moves. Sometimes it's in waves, but certainly the Spartan offense, and I should say the sideline in general, is much more alive now than it was, not 2 minutes ago.
Absolutely, Jim. You're right about that. And now that stop that the Spartans made on that previous drive, just that much more important.
Kimsel and Blessing back deep for the Red Tornadoes. They're going to go with this. If you look at that second line, it looks like Lukowski, Belichick. Trying to see, it's Fesniak and the third guy. Can't quite pick out a number. I think it's Morganti, right? Is that 30?
Yeah.
Okay, it is 30.
Jim.
All right. See what Menser opts to do here, if he wants to return or if he just wants to bury it in the back of the end zone. I'm going to send it to Blessing at the goal line. And off the right side a little bit, but good coverage. And again, Dan, you said this before, that's a long way to kick it. That gives that coverage team a good chance to kind of make up a lot of that ground.
Yeah, that's plenty of time to get down there and kind of set up their coverage, kind of established their lanes, and it didn't really give Blessing. I mean, he tried to find a way, and there was just nowhere for him to go.
So the ball will be at the 16-yard line.
And we've got the Red Tornado offense out there, and they're opening things up again, Jim.
Spears has Kricky in the backfield with him. Cooper. Looks like Bailey is out, and they will let Spears keep it himself, and he's got a little bit of room. Nice tackle ultimately made from behind by, was that 8?
Yeah.
That was 8, so, right, that's Ricky Halford.
Yeah, and Jim, that could have been a touchdown-saving tackle there by Halford, because Spears has some speed, and it looked like he got into the open.
Yeah, I thought he had the space there.
Yeah.
2nd and 2. Now it's to Kricky, and Kricky's going to try to get the edge. But again, a nice play by Keegan Brown.
Yeah.
And Miller. Miller again, he's having himself a night over there. He stayed home and sent Kricky right into Brown's arms.
Yeah, those guys have just been shutting down the boundary here for the Red Tornadoes. It's been hard for them to get to the outside.
Keegan Curry, excuse me.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 2. Spears is going to throw it, and he's got out Bailey in the open field. Look at him go. He's going to put his head down and finish the run. A great play. Bailey inside the 40-yard line.
That's a huge play there by Al Bailey, Jim. And you see Schultz on the field as well. Schultz on the field as well. He's usually the guy that you're going to as a tight end. So they almost forget about Bailey or whoever the other tight end is in there, whether it's Bailey or Belichick, whoever it is. And the defense just didn't find Bailey from the snap, but Spears did right away.
Down to the 37 is where they mark it. And now it's Blessing. Blessing picks and chooses his way. He's down near the 30. And this is what's interesting, Dan, and Coach Darren kind of talked to us about this. the way that they opt to use Diaz this season as a receiver, Blessing's going to be the bell cow, right? He's going to be that workhorse. He's going to get 20 carries a night.
Yeah, and I mean, he can handle it. He can handle the workload. We've seen him do it, i.e. last year's North Schuylkill game. He carried the ball a good bit.
Spears, look at the pocket Spears has, and he flips it out. It's incomplete. But again, credit to that Red Tornado offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, he had a perfect pocket. He was able to step up in there and get that throw out. But unfortunately sailed just a little bit high, and now it's a big third down here for the Spartan defense and for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want this to stay a one-score game.
Spears keeps it himself. He's going to be close to that first down. It's going to depend on where they spot him. He's very close.
Yeah, I think.
And he's lidless.
And we've got a first down. We've got a first down signal.
Huge play by Spears to put his head down and pick up that yard.
Yeah.
Those yards.
And now you see, Jim, you know, the guy we talked about, number 16, Gavin Marshalik, in there to take his first snap of the year.
Think coach lets him unload it?
And that's the thing, Jim. As the replacement quarterback coming in because Spears' helmet's lost, he doesn't have to just hand this ball off. He's got the ability. He can throw.
Here we go. Marshalik's going to move to his right. It's a great throw. It'll be incomplete, but Marshalik shows you why he gives Spears a run for his money there.
Absolutely,
for QB1. A very talented kid. First, it'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, you are 100% right about that. And I don't see Marshalik coming off the field.
Nope, not at this moment.
Now listen, it's hot out here. If you can get your quarterback a break on offensive snaps, I mean that's huge for the Red Tornadoes to have that ability.
21, a little over 21 seconds left in the third quarter. Marshalik hands it off to Blessing. Oh my goodness, that was in and out again. So a nice individual effort by Blessing there. It's going to bring up third. It'll be 3rd and about 5, and it's also likely going to bring up the end of the third quarter, although the Red Tornadoes are on the ball pretty quick here. And they're going to run it again. Blessing. Yeah, he's going to pick up the first down, I think.
And Jim, I don't think North Schuylkill was suspecting the Red Tornadoes to get up on the ball that quick.
The Red Tornadoes don't care that the quarter stopped. They're trying to get back up on the ball again. We're waiting to see the measurement. The ball is marked a yard short of the first down. So as the third quarter draws to a close, Coach Darra's going to have a few minutes to think up what they want to do to pick up the first down in this 27-20 ball game.
And Jim, as we see, Maddox Reed hustling out there on the field to be in that offensive huddle. I kind of have an inclination of what Coach Darra is probably going to do. They've gone to the well, and I don't think you're going to see Spears at the quarterback position to start this fourth quarter, at least on this 4th down play.
So again, we've played 3 full. We got a 1-score game here. I told you at the outset we had a gem of an opening night game, and
absolutely, this
has not disappointed from the very beginning. Not a minute and a half into the game, the Red Tornadoes gave you a goal line stop, and a minute and a half later, an 87-yard touchdown pitch and catch.
Right.
And it's been just kind of gangbusters from there.
Yeah, it's been a crazy game, Jim. I mean, we haven't been able to kind of catch our breath up here.
The humidity doesn't help.
And I love it though. Like those are the games that we love to be a part of up here.
And we certainly again want to make sure we thank our sponsor for tonight, Shimmock's Furniture World here in Mount Carmel. We appreciate their patronage and their support here to help us bring this to the masses. So here we go, 4th and 1. Blessing takes the snap off the right side, and he's going to be stopped. He's going to be stopped. Chawanski's going to get the tackle, but Caraballo made the play.
Yeah, Caraballo was in the backfield and made a huge stop. And you hear the eruption from the North Schuylkill side over there. And Jim, with how awesome this game has been, it's not a long ride home to North Schuylkill. But normally, getting into the 4th quarter, these guys are the fans started to clear out. I think we've gotten more fans here since halftime
Right.
on the North Schuylkill side over there. This is a packed house tonight.
And we should, again, that play, he said Carmel doesn't get credit for the tackle, but he cuts through and forces Blessing off the mark he wanted to take right into the arms of Chwanski. So we'll see what the Spartans do. It's Ricky Halford out to the 25 for a gain of about 6.
Yeah, that's a tough run there by Halford. Did a really good job just getting anything, because, I mean, it seems like nobody except for Minalda and Chwanski have had success in the middle.
And it's going to be Halford again off that right side. He's got a first down, and he's going to take a shot, but he'll pick up the first down. A good effort there. And it looks like, is that Belichick?
Belichick and I believe it was Belichick and Kimsel on that tackle. Here we can get a look right here.
Yeah, yep. Belichick and Kimsel, great shot, great camera work. So we'll wait for a break in the action here as they're going to give it to Chwanski again. A nice play made there.
Really good play.
Widener, but I think, who came off the edge first? Was it Kimsel again? Or was it Miller, or Bailey, excuse me?
I think it was Al Bailey there, Jim.
But one thing that's worth noting here is we kind of had a few offensive possessions, and now we got a defensive possession. Haven't seen Diaz on the field in a minute on either side of the ball.
You're right.
I have to keep an eye on him as we go forward. 2nd and 8. Minalda going to throw, and he's looking for McGee again. A great play by Fesniak.
And you know what? You know what, Jim? That was that good of a play. McGee kind of went up to Fesniak and said, "Hey, nice play," afterwards, because that was a perfect read on the ball. He saw when the ball was released, and he knew the spot that he had to get to make the separation there, and he timed it perfectly.
Yep. Now it's 3rd and 9. Ball at the 35. Spartans trail the Red Tornadoes by a touchdown. Minalda to throw again. That's a long throw from McGee. It's a good tackle by Delaney, but it'll be enough for a Spartan first down.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there. With Minalda initially looking to his right, you know, you think as a defensive back you're pretty safe over there. That far away, because that is a long throw for Minalda to make. I mean, that ball was in the air for a long time.
He's almost on the right hash there, and he's thrown it to the sideline to his left.
Yeah.
Chwanski, and he's going to rumble, and Kimsel's going to meet him at the point of attack. Looks like is that Bailey around his ankles. But it'll be very close to a first down.
Yeah, again, credit to Kimsel. I mean, he's given up some size to Chwanski, and he stuck it in there at the end.
Minalda keeps this one himself on the read. And again, it's Miller, it's Widener, it's Kimsel.
Yeah.
And there's something, I don't know if it comes with the jersey or not, but Kimsel wearing that number 4 this season, I think if you wear 4 and you play defensive back for the Red Tornadoes, you got to stick your nose up there and run support. That's a rule.
Absolutely. I think you're definitely right about that.
We saw Farinado do it for a few years, and now Kimsel. And Chwanski now, he got to the outside, and it'll be Kimsel that forces him out. And there's a Red Tornado down at about the 28-yard line.
And that is Lukoski that's down. But again, Jim, now you have the Spartans threatening, and the Red Tornadoes in need of another goal line stand, you know, like they had on their first drive of the game.
Well, I was trying to think back to last season. If I recall correctly, the Red Tornadoes had a 2-score lead at one point.
Yeah.
And the Spartans came charging back. And I think, we'd have to check the stats to be sure, but I believe the final the final straw there, what ended the game, was a Belichick interception.
It was a Belichick
if I remember
interception.
correctly.
That is correct.
And so
and
you
the
have
only
to,
reason I can say that for certain is because I like to study up on the film, so I know somewhat what I'm talking about when these games come around. And I watched our film of the North Schuylkill game last year, just last week.
and so you have to think, with the way the Spartans are moving the ball right now, specifically on the ground, that the Red Tornadoes need a turnover.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's probably, and I mean, with the way the Spartan backs are, they don't go down easily. So you may get an opportunity as a Red Tornado defender to hold somebody up and let somebody else come in and try and punch at or rip at the ball.
Koski walking off. Always great to see. Minalda's going to bring the Spartans up to the ball again. 9:22 left. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 13. 27-20 Red Tornadoes. But the Spartans have some momentum here on this drive.
Ball's back in place. Spartans have it 1st and 10.
Minalda hands it to Halford. It's like Reed on the stop after only a couple.
Yeah, nice job there.
And Karicki.
Yeah, by the Red Tornado defense. Not giving up too much there.
Just to kind of speak to how well the Red Tornadoes are playing tonight and you know where they're at. Happen to notice on the sideline there's a guy down there by the name of Jim Coles. You might recognize him from WNEP.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about Jim in a second, as Minalda's throw to the back of the end zone is incomplete to Flail. It was a great ball by Minalda. Only Flail was going to make the play.
You're right. Absolutely was a great pass, but wow, I mean, good job again. The Red Tornadoes defensive backs have been doing a fantastic job in coverage for the most part tonight.
But as I said about Jim Coles, I believe that he's here tonight, and I saw the WNEP 16 trucks as well. They have, I believe they have the Spartans ranked as #1 in their Super 16 countdown. That's how well thought of this team is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And rightfully so from everything we've seen tonight. Chawanski nowhere to go, and now it's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, that looked like the first guys on the scene there were Widener and Ben Miller, number 29. You know, and they were able to kind of knife in and slow Chawanski up and let the guys in the middle there make that stop.
So here we go, another fourth down situation deep in Red Tornado territory for the Spartans. Minalda's going to throw. He's looking for Flail on a comeback, and he's got him, but does he stay in bounds? He does. He does. Oh, my goodness.
And
what
Jim,
a connection.
What a well-designed route. I mean, Flail has been running to the corner all game long, and finally this time around they say, hey, get to the pylon and stick your foot in the ground. And it's shades of Garrett Verano from last year, because that was Verano's specialty, was getting to the corner, staying in bounds, and getting just enough yards needed. And I mean, it worked so many times for the Red Tornadoes.
Now the all-important point after for Menser. The kick is up, and it is good. And the sideline erupts as, again, we are all even here at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, Jim, we've got ourselves a tie ball game here with just over 8 minutes to go in this game.
What more could you ask for as a fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't ask for more.
And Dan, I've been kind of eyeballing things, and I thought you were a little crazy when you said before that there might be more people here now than there were at kickoff. I think you're right.
Yeah. Listen, people hear that there's a great game coming on. Everybody wants to be a part of it. You know, even if it's at halftime when you decide to show up.
And this is about as good a game as you could ask for. Again, what an exciting night we're having here at the Silver Bowl. I want to thank Shimmock's Furniture World for their support. And we want to most importantly thank all of you for your support, your willingness to kind of continue continue watching, continue enjoying this. We appreciate your support as the season goes on. And again, don't forget all those other ways you can contribute to the Mount Carmel Area School District, whether it's through a brick down here to support the stadium and general upkeep, whether it's the Education Association. Make sure you get to the Knights for the next couple weeks for Supper Club and Matucci's after that. All different ways. Again, it's beautiful, beautiful turf here. Shouldn't say turf, natural grass, but beautiful spot here at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, it's a great place, a great atmosphere and environment to not only play a high school football game, but also to take one in.
Yeah. We have a very special guest here tonight as well. We talked about Mr. Sakaitis taking over the TV studio, doing a phenomenal job. Our newly retired former leader, Mr. Dave McPhee, saw him taking it in as a spectator. He just can't keep himself away, and we love that about him. Menser's kick is a boo. Oh my goodness.
That went off the back line there. And you see Menser, he's got a little pep in his step. He's happy about that one.
I mean,
wow. And Jim, seeing that from Menser, I mean, we're at 27-27 with just over 8 minutes left. This game could come down to a field goal. And Shoppy and Menser, you know, both have the ability to hit from distance, you know, from obviously further than a PAT if it comes down to it.
So the Red Tornado offense comes out, and again, Diaz on the sideline. So the Red Tornadoes missing a huge playmaker at the moment and having trouble getting their offense set up. A lot of time on the play clock, though. They get situated. Spears wants to throw. Now he's going to run, and he's going to be sacked by Chawanski. Well, fortunately, thanks to Spears, not technically a sack. I guess he'll gain a yard.
Yeah. But, Jim, you saw where the Red Tornadoes were trying to go there. They had 15 Schultz in single coverage by himself on the opposite side, and that's immediately where Spears went.
And now Spears is making his way to the sideline. And Marshall back in. Second and 9 to 21. The Red Tornadoes need to make some plays. Marshall under pressure, and he's going to be sacked, and I believe that's Keegan Curry.
Wow. Coming from an outside spot there, either an outside linebacker or corner, but now you see Flail coming in as a substitution here, maybe a little bit more speed here, anticipating a throw with the third and very long for the Red Tornadoes.
Schultz by himself at the top of the screen here, if you will.
And there's no help coming over the top.
There's no shade, yep. The shade is to the trip side. So Spears you might see him hit his foot here and go. Yep, he's gonna go to Schultz. There's some hand fighting. And Schultz, did he catch that football? He did not.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
But what a ball from Marshalik. I mean, he couldn't have placed that any better.
And Schultz is down on this North Schuylkill sideline.
But you have to give credit where it's due. The coverage there, I believe by number 1, Luke Miller on Schultz over there by himself, giving up a little bit of size and not only size, but experience as well, able to just make an incredible defensive play.
And now the Red Tornadoes, no doubt, ready to punt, will rely on their defense as the North Schuylkill Spartans have sapped all the energy in the last few minutes as they've come storming back to tie this game and are in a position to get the football back with all kinds of momentum.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. And I think this is you know, the Red Tornadoes are in a precarious situation right now, about to give the ball back to a humming North Schuylkill Spartans offense.
And it's always unnerving when your punter is standing in his own end zone.
Yeah, always. only a yard deep is a little better. But even your heels on the goal line, because just one problem with the snap and you're in trouble.
Now the flail will be the only man back. They're going to move McGee up, although it doesn't look like they're going to come after it.
Maybe a safety return there.
It's going to be a good punt. Doesn't take as favorable as a bounce as the Red Tornadoes might have liked. It was a good job by Delaney to get the ball out of there. Had good hang time on it, or excuse me, by Karicki. So it'll be 1st and 10 Spartans inside Red Tornado territory at about the 42. 6:46 left in a tie ball game.
Yeah, Jim, so now, you know, the North Schuylkill defense kind of answered the call there and got the big stop when they needed it. Now we're going to be looking to the Red Tornado defense to see if they can do the same.
Minalda has Chawanski sends Jones in motion. And they're going to give it to Chawanski. No, Minalda keeps it himself. A great play and read by Maddox Reed.
Yeah, great job there by the Mad Dog getting in there and making a play. And again, you know, this is a huge defensive series here for the Red Tornadoes and the Spartans. I mean, there's no need to press.
No,
offensively.
All kinds of time.
Yeah.
And the ball's on the ground, and it's recovered by Widener. They struggled. They fumbled the read option, and Widener was Johnny on the spot, not even content to fall on it. Picked it up and rumbled another 20 yards.
Well,
1st and 10 Red Tornadoes.
Well, Widener didn't want anyone to forget that he did rush for almost 300 yards last year.
That's right.
And he got that one rushing touchdown last year. He was looking, and I believe it was in the last regular season game of the year. I believe it was against Shamokin. He got his one rushing touchdown. He was trying to get his defensive touchdown out of the way early. But either way, a humongous momentum swing here. Now we'll see if the Spartans defense can hold up with the Red Tornadoes offense back out here this quickly on the ball.
And you see Spears back out there. I'd say under center, but I'd be surprised if we see under center at all. And the Red Tornadoes go back to old reliable. Shotgun double wing. Lukoski in motion. They give it to him. He's going to try to get in the alley. Good effort by Lukoski, keeping his feet moving. And he'll pick up, give him, say 4.
Yeah, they gave him 4. It looked like he got about 6 there. I mean, we could see the angle from here. We had a perfect alley. He kind of kept his feet off the ground, kept those legs pumping. You could see him churning.
Past the halfway point in the final quarter. We're not at 27 here at the Silver Bowl on opening night. Spears and Blessing in the backfield, Lukoski and Bailey. Spears is going to keep this one himself, and there's nowhere to go. A great job by the Spartans. That has just not been there tonight, Dan, right up the middle.
No, it hasn't. I mean, the fact, it looks like Spears actually picked up 2 or 3 there. And the fact that he got that many was tough, because it looked like that just means the offensive line is getting a good push, because he kind of hit right at the point of contact. Another huge 3rd down.
And you got to think you have 2 plays to pick up 3 yards here, right, if you're Coach Dara?
Absolutely.
And Spears is going to throw, but he's sacked. He's sacked. He was under pressure immediately from Keegan Curry.
And his helmet came off again, Jim, so this isn't going to be a 4th down for Spears to play. This is going to be a 4th down for Marshalik, as we see number 10, Xavier Diaz, checking back into the game.
He's under pressure from Curry immediately, and it's going to be Braden Lauda that gets the sack. But you're right, Dan. We see Diaz back in for the first time. He hasn't played much this half. And now Marshalik and the Red Tornadoes are trying to get everything together. They've got a lot of time on the play clock, but the Red Tornadoes have almost a student body right here.
Wow.
And Marshalik's going to throw it to Diaz, but Curry again. Keegan Curry. My goodness.
And Jim, and I mean, that was a kind of funky setup for the Red Tornadoes, but I mean, when you do stuff like that, you know where the ball's going defensively. You got 5 receivers out here. One of these, and especially because Diaz just checked back into the game for that play. So you got to be thinking to yourself, this is where the ball's going if you're a Spartan. So all I have to do is beat the guy that's going to come out and try and block me, as Keegan Curry has done countless times this game.
I see Diaz out there on defense as well. He's going to cover up Flail as Minalda looks to throw. He's going to hand it to Chawanski first. And he's going to rumble through for a gain of about 8.
Yeah,
get out to the 48-yard line.
And I'll tell you what, Jimmy, Chawanski has been, working hard for every yard that he's gotten, but he's accumulated a few with that work.
Oh, sure.
Throughout this game.
Under 4 minutes now. 2nd and 1, ball at the 48-yard line. Still knotted at 27. That's Chawanski again, and he'll have the first down and a little bit more for his troubles into Red Tornado territory down to the 45. And now there's a Red Tornado down, so we'll get a stoppage here.
Yeah, and that's Shimko down on the play here.
So you don't always think this early in the 4th quarter, but I can't help but notice, Dan, how fast the last 2 minutes have gone.
Oh, yeah.
That the clock is going to start to play a factor here for the team that doesn't have the football.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. This is going to be a huge series right now for both sides of the ball here, the Spartans on offense and the Red Tornadoes on defense, because you want to have the ball and kind of chew that clock. But you have to do it productively. You need to still move the ball and move the chains if you even want to give Menser an opportunity to kick a game-winning field goal if it comes to that.
Shimko making his way off the field. But undoubtedly, the Red Tornadoes need a play. And the question is, who will make it?
Right.
Who will be this year's version of Belichick, right?
Yeah, I mean...
He's out there.
Yeah, he is out there. But I think this is where you got to look to your guys with some experience.
Ricky Halford, nowhere to go, looks like. Bumps was on the bottom of that pile, and he's going to stay down for a minute. So again, we'll stop the clock here, 3:24. It's going to be 2nd and 9 when we get back to play. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got going on around the area, Dan, for some scores? Let me take a look and see.
Yeah, let's see what you got there, Jim.
With any updates. So Danville is... They've extended their lead over Bloomsburg a bit. It's now 53-0.
Okay.
Southern, 50-0 is the final over Berwick.
Okay.
Hughesville pulled away from Montgomery, 20-6. That's also a final. Montoursville, 49-0 over Wellsboro. That's a final. Most of these are going to be final, right? It's pretty late.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, Lewisburg and Shamokin are in the first overtime right now.
Wow.
16-13 Lewisburg currently leads.
Jeez, Jim, that's a good game there.
South Williamsport 14-0 over Milton. That's an interesting one. Milton, I believe, was what, 9-2 last year?
Yeah, Milton was very good last year.
So we'll have to take some stock there and see what may or may not have happened as Bumps makes his way off the field. Loyalsock came back against Berks Catholic and won 25-21. Selinsgrove victorious, and Jersey Shore 68-13 over Pottsville. The Pottsville team that was here less than a week ago.
Yeah, last Saturday.
There are getting to be a lot of red jerseys on that bench. That's, yep, Minaldo went for the hard count, but nobody jumped.
Right.
So 2nd and 9. And they hand it to Halford. Halford's going to try to get the edge. He does a nice job. It's a good tackle by
Maddox Reed.
Bring up 3rd and short.
Yeah, but again, you know, we talked about it. This is kind of what the Spartans want to do. You want to slowly get yourself into a position to score because you do not want to give the Red Tornadoes the ball back with any time left.
And not quite a 3rd and short. He went down a little bit earlier than I thought he did. So it's 3rd and 3 at the 38. By the time the Spartans snap this ball, they'll be right around 2.5 left. And it's Chawanski off the left side, and they'll be upended by Reed, but not before he gets the first down.
And again, this is exactly what the doctor ordered here for the Spartans. You know, just slowly working their way down the field.
Miller and McGee to the left, Flails by himself to the right. Kevin Jones sits in that wing spot just behind the left tackle. Chawanski somehow stays on his feet inside the 30. Seems like about the 27 they're going to call it, give him 4.
Yeah, that's another, you know, we keep talking about it. Chawanski, he's a tough runner, man. He's working for everything he's getting here.
Minute 40. Clock continues to tick. I keep looking for Mensa. Where's he at?
He's over there. He's in the back of the North Schuylkill sideline there. I just saw him kind of take a practice kick.
It's a low snap, and Minaldo just fall on it. So now here we go. And now it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. It looks like where they're going to mark it.
And again, this clock just keeps winding, Jim. You know, there's no urgency really. They're not rushing to get up on the ball. They're not rushing to use any of those timeouts either, unless they're going to use one.
And it almost feels like, to some extent, Coach Darragh is saying, "Hey, Coach Hall, if you're content kicking a 40-yard field goal, I'm going to let you."
Right.
Halford. Now he's got a little space. He's in the middle of the field. He's still on his feet. He's still on his feet. It's a touchdown.
The ball's out.
It's a touchdown. The ball crossed the plane. Ricky Halford from 31 yards out with 47 seconds left on the clock.
And Jim, Halford was poised to break one. He'd been kind of running it up the middle. We know he's got a little bit more speed. He's more the speed guy there for the Spartans, and he finally found his lane and was able to make a couple guys miss and then break a few tackles. And the effort at the end to stretch that ball across the goal line was enough.
My goodness. What a turn of events here at the Silver Bowl. So we'll wait as there's a few Red Tornadoes down in the end zone. We'll wait as they make their way to the sideline. And Menser comes on to attempt the PAT to see if the Red Tornadoes find themselves trailing by 6 or 7. But we've got 47 seconds left here. Mount Carmel has 2 timeouts. Again, not quite sure yet if they're going to be down 6 or 7. But certainly we'll need to put together some sort of display.
Yeah.
To walk out of here with win 891. We'll see Fesniak was one of the young men down in the end zone. He is up on his feet, making his way towards the sideline. Another young man still being tended to. But again, as we've mentioned numerous times tonight, we do appreciate Shimmock's Furniture World and their willingness to be the sponsor tonight. It's week 1. Got a lot of weeks to go. A lot of opportunities for all involved here. We want to recognize the WKMC TV studio here Again, the student-run organization. And that was Wachowski down in the end zone. He's making his way to the sideline. I want to recognize, again, this is a student-run TV studio, so for all these fantastic sights and sounds that you've had all night, please remember where those are coming from. Those are students in your district.
And Jim, again, we talked about how difficult this was for everybody out here tonight. I mean, this has been a dogfight between the Red Tornadoes and the Spartans, and the Spartans unrelenting on the offensive side of the ball.
So big kick for Menser, and he drilled it. 34-27 Spartans. Now the Red Tornadoes need to dig deep here.
Yeah.
The good news, I think, is in years past, had the Red Tornadoes found themselves in this situation, I won't say throwing the ball was a foreign concept, but it was not something it was not part of their offense that was as well cultivated perhaps as the run game. This year, they throw it a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, 47 seconds is an eternity especially when you're in a one-score game and you're a defensive back. So, I mean, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Spartan defense. So the Red Tornadoes really, I mean, I don't want to say there's no pressure on them. Obviously, there's a little bit of pressure, but the pressure is more so on the Spartans once they get the ball back.
And another thing here that's really, we talk about some of these kids and the way that they impact the game in ways you wouldn't always think. In situations like this, in years past, and not even years past, even we'll see it this year as the season goes on.
Yeah.
You go, hey, maybe we can set up a return. Maybe we can make something big happen. Vince is just as likely to bury this in the back of the end zone. You don't even get a chance. It doesn't matter if you have a return set up or not.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if I'm Menser, I'm not going for the squib kick here. I'm trying to do what I did on the last one and put it, out of the back of the end zone.
Kimsel and Blessing back, but it's Blessing stopped it to give himself a chance. But the Spartans cover it very well.
Oh.
Blessing almost leaked out, so there'll be a yard or two better for his efforts.
Yeah, I did think Blessing was going to get out of there. But Blessing also down on the field there after that return.
He's able to get up under his own power. He's going to make his way to the sideline. But again, the Red Tornadoes here, they need to be able to make some plays in short order.
Yeah.
So you see Tate Adams, Cooper Kricke, Jalen Delaney, and Chase Belichick out there. With Kimsel in the backfield and Spears.
Yeah. Okay, see now.
So the clock was reset to 42 seconds. The Red Tornadoes have 42 seconds, 2 timeouts, and 78 yards to go. See what Spears and company can engineer here when they need to have it. It's a quick hitch to Belichick. Get upfield and get out of bounds. It's going to be short of the first down.
Yeah, listen, if you can do that 6-7 times, you're in the end zone,
How many of those can you set up before it's a hitch and go, right?
Right.
They're going to do it again. And that's intercepted by, no. Oh my goodness, I thought Flail got under that, Dan.
I did too, but then, thankfully I saw the ball rolling there underneath him, but he made every effort. It seems like the timing is off a little bit there. Spears is expecting that to Belichick to kind of stop that route a little sooner.
And now again, the down isn't as big of a deal as distance, but it is still a problem here. 3rd down. Now Spears to throw. He's under pressure. He's running up, and he floats it, and it's almost intercepted. Oh, my goodness. That was right. It was almost right at number 3, Caden Mengel. So now you pick your poison here. I think from the Red Tornado standpoint, you got to get the first down.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got 2 timeouts left with just under 30 seconds to go. I mean, you have to get the first down if you want this drive to continue. I would get the first down at all costs and use one of those timeouts if you have to.
Spears is going to run, and he's going to have the first down, and he's got some more. He gets down wisely. And the Red Tornadoes will call a timeout. So they're 23 seconds on the clock. The ball is going to be down at their own 44. So this is by no means over yet, folks.
You're right about that, Jim. I mean, now we're getting into the range again where Spears has a great arm on him. You know, getting around midfield. We're going to see.
Now, hold on, sorry, not to cut you off, Dan, but now you see the Red Tornadoes are trying to say, hey, there's an injury timeout on the Spartan side. We would like our timeout back, please.
And I think the sideline official there is explaining to Coach Dara that you called the timeout too soon. Which, don't get me wrong, I was up here signaling timeout for them as soon as Spears hit the ground. But, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get that one back.
There's at least some conversation going on.
Yeah.
And I think the North Schuylkill side are trying to make the argument that, no, he laid down after the fact.
Right.
Not sure what's going to happen here. There's some conversation, so.
Yeah, we'll find out here. But again, you know, as we get this sorted out here, we're excited. I mean, we're anticipating we're getting into that area where Spears could probably reach the end zone.
Now that a couple things here, so you'll see number 10 Diaz is back out there. I still do not see Schultz. And if you're talking about kind of getting to the end zone, some of those jump balls, he's the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
But to be transparent, I don't see him on the sideline either.
No, neither do I, Jim. But you know, you talk about Schultz, and you mentioned Diaz. I mean, yeah, if you want a jump ball, you want Schultz in there. But if you want to throw the ball as far as Spears can possibly throw it and hope somebody can run underneath it, I think Diaz is the guy you want.
I think the Red Tornadoes are going to get their timeout back because there's a lot of communication with the North Schuylkill sideline here.
Well, let's find out. I mean, the only downside is, you know, in this situation, we might not get that communicated to us, and we may not know until we see 2 timeouts used.
Spears to throw. He's looking for Diaz. He's got to get rid of it. He's running out of time. He throws in the middle of the field to Kimzel. The Red Tornadoes going to have to take another timeout here.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there for Spears. I mean, the Spartans are defending this perfectly.
Yep.
They're making, if Spears is going to get anything, he's going to run it or he's going to throw it in the middle of the field.
And they're content to let Spears run around in the backfield as long as he'd like to.
Absolutely.
So now the Red Tornadoes, I'm assuming they did not get that timeout back, as it does seem to still indicate they're now out of timeouts. It is 2nd and 5. The ball is right at midfield but again, at this point, as we said before, the down was the problem. You had to get a first down to stay alive.
Right.
Now I think the down is less important, as you probably only have 2 plays left in 11 seconds.
Yeah, I think the clock is absolutely the problem. And realistically, you've got 2 plays left if you can get out of bounds on the first one.
Yeah, anything tackled with an inbound short of a first down is likely how this ball game's going to end.
Yeah, even with the first down, you have to get everybody back that's running to the end zone. It might be tough once the ball's set.
Spears is going to go straight back. He's going to throw it for Diaz, and it's intercepted by McGee. And so that'll do it unofficially, as there's still just under 5 seconds left on the clock. But barring the craziest of crazy endings here,
yeah,
the Spartans are going to walk out of here 1-0.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. And unfortunately for the Red Tornadoes, just, you know, it was the offense kind of went cold there late in the third quarter and through the fourth quarter, and now and that was right when the time when the Spartans decided to heat up.
Well, and I think it's worth, and that'll be the knee, and that'll be it. So we'll wait another half a second, but the clock strikes 0, and the clock strikes midnight for the Red Tornadoes here. It's 34-27 Spartans to start the season. And Dan, we'll have a lot to talk about over the next week. There'll be lots of conversations that go on in our communities. I think the biggest thing from where I'm standing is the Red Tornadoes were certainly short-handed late in this contest. I still don't see Schultz.
Yeah, neither do I.
Give Diaz credit. He gutted it out, and when the Red Tornadoes absolutely had to have him, he did everything he could to try to be out there for his teammates. So
100%.
All the credit in the world for the kid being as tough as he is.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Widener was on the sideline. Bump was on the sideline. A lot of guys who started weren't able to finish for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah, and this week for the Red Tornadoes, you can't dwell on this loss. I mean, next week starts tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's one thing that I like that Coach Carmel always used to tell us. We can, you can dwell on this tonight, but tomorrow morning you get up, you bury the tape in the backyard, and you don't look at it. You know that this game is over. You move forward for next week. We've got a long trip next week. We're going to travel up to Dunmore, and hopefully we do it with some healthy players.
Yeah, Dunmore, for what it's worth, 35-12 victors tonight over Old Forge. So we'll see. I don't anticipate getting any stats tonight. Again, I think we've got a time issue at this point, Dan. If we're being honest,
this one ran pretty late tonight.
It's 10:09 here. My goodness! But what a contest from start to finish. It was a blast. I mean, it's as much fun as you can have when your squad comes out on the wrong side.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, you always like a competitive game, and I mean, you can't expect anything less out of when these two teams take the field.
Again, the big difference here. We just kind of the Red Tornadoes opened the scoring, right? Got out 6-0. Spartans answered 6-6. The Red Tornadoes go up 13-6. The Spartans come back 13-13. The Red Tornadoes rolled off 2 straight scoring possessions, kind of bookend at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half.
Right.
To make it 27-13, but the offense kind of stalled after that, and that was really when the Spartans kicked up. They had the 45-yard pitch and catch to McGee, a 10-yarder to Flail, and then Halford's big 31-yard run was the icing on the cake with less than 45 seconds left. So we'll see. Like you said, Dan, we've got a long season here. We've got 9 more weeks of regular season, hopefully district playoff aspirations as well here for the Red Tornadoes. Wish the Spartans the best as they go forward. We won't cross paths again. We always appreciate kind of them as a rival.
Yeah, a regular season rival.
Sure.
They get to go on and this is a great team out there. I mean, they have District 11 aspirations again. Hopefully, a shot at the state playoffs for them as well, just as the Red Tornadoes do for District 4. So moving forward, I think wish best of luck to the Spartans. And again, the Red Tornadoes, you got to move forward from this. You start the season off 0-1. Next week, you want to be 1-0.
Yep. Yeah, and again, I think like we said, you left it all out there. It was a great week 1. You would like to wind up another way, but you had a lot of good things, a lot of good stuff to see on film tomorrow if you're Coach Dara.
Absolutely.
So, like we said, it's late. Maybe we kind of work our way out of here. Again, the Red Tornadoes fall in week 1 here at the hands of the visiting North Schuylkill Spartans, 34-27. But a great contest, no less. So we'll go ahead and get out of here. I'm Jim Lesko.
I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, it's been a great night. This has been a WKMC TV broadcast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.